What is happening, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here for a impromptu live stream like we like to do. The wife is out of town. I recorded my video tomorrow requiring 0 edits. One shot, done. About 1 out of 5 videos come out like that. So we are running hot. We are feeling good. And I figured hop on here and chit chat for a little bit. So as per usual, we will let chat kind of dictate the ship here and answer any questions and just kind of let you guys steer the conversation. Maybe we'll have special guests. Maybe we won't. I don't know. We'll see. I can probably rustle up some special guests if we want a special guest or two. I might be able to find someone to pop on. I don't know. We'll see. KPJ to the moon. Did something happen with KPJ that I am unaware of? Or just always KPJ to the moon, Joshua? What's up, Doom? What's up, Josh? What's up, Tala, Tiga? I'm never going to get that one right. What's up, Ryan Smith? What's up, Joel? I have not bought any basketball for a while. I have not bought anything for a while. The last stuff that I bought was like the Luka Optic Hollow PSA 9. The last thing that I bought was the Giant Size X-Men 1 right there. Excuse me. I have not bought anything since the Giant Size X-Men 1. And I have already recouped some of the funds already. I guess I'll open with this too. Anyone in the Ohio area this weekend, it is Sports Card Bonanza, as Friday night is Card Collector 2 trade night, and Saturday night is 1 of 1 in Strongsville, Ohio. I believe it's Strongsville, Ohio. If not, it's right next to Strongsville, which is southwest of downtown Cleveland for those uninitiated. They are doing their first trade night. I don't know if I'm going to Card Collector 2s. I am most likely for sure going to 1 of 1s. Card Collector 2s requires a hotel stay and a whole bunch of other shenanigans. I would really like to go. I don't know that I want to do 2 trade nights back to back. And I definitely want to go to 1 of 1s because it's their first one and they're only an hour from me. So I kind of want to support them as like the semi-local shop to help get that off the ground as much as possible. They're doing a cornhole tournament and a whole bunch of other shenanigans. So I will most likely be at 1 of 1s for sure. Card Collector 2s, a little more doubtful just because of them being back-to-back nights. So also, I think 1 of 1 is setting up outside, so there'll be just more space to spread out. And that's a little appealing to me as well, due to reasons. So thank you, Robert. Browns, the Browns. Oh, the Browns. Wall is being traded. I must have missed that today. When that happened, I didn't see a Woj bomb on that. KPJ gonna start. I just kind of figured KPJ would start anyways. What's the details on the Wall trade? I must have missed that when I was recording my video. What do people think about 90s football cards? I'm not talking about varied. I mean dirt cheap, but maybe not enough collectible players. I don't follow 90s stuff at all. So I am the wrong person to ask. 357, what is going on? Agreed not to play. So does that mean he's getting traded or just that they're going to buy him out? Like what? There's a big difference there. I just don't see someone wanting Wall's contract. I mean, I'm not like disputing the fact that this is happening. Just I'm curious where he's going, especially if it's a trade. Working on deal. Okay, so it's not. There's nothing official yet. What's up, Jonas? What's up, Elliot in Las Vegas? I don't know that they're doing $1,000. I haven't watched that video yet. I saw that get posted, but I have not watched that yet. How about those Chiefs? Mahomes boy 86 says, what are you going to do? We have no way to stop Travis Kelce. Yeah, buyout makes more sense to me than a trade, to be honest. Just because I don't know many teams that would want his contract. Not so much that more than anything else. Just don't see a lot of teams that are going to want to eat that number because I think it's like 40 some million this year and next year. Which is not surprising. They should want to play the kids. That's good. That'll make that team more fun. For sure. And I love me some KPJ. I still have stacks of KPJ laying around here. Mostly raw. Is this all KPJ? I got lots of KPJ still. Lots and lots and lots of KPJ. Sold a lot of KPJ. Still have a lot of KPJ. Oh, were they back up again today? Ryan, were they back up? I didn't look today. I randomly look every once in a while. Nope, not in stock. I got 4 boxes coming. I don't know if I want more or not. Can't find. I have the link to it. Hold on. 1 second. You can't find it by searching for it, but that's the direct link to it. I just put it in chat. Just favorite that or something. That's the direct link to the product page. But I don't think Boone. I don't think that's a bold take. I think most people. I don't think that's that. I don't think that's a hot take. That's like a medium warm take. That's like you picked up the pizza, got stuck in a little bit of traffic, got it home, and it's like, you know, not melt your face, but it's not ice cold either take. Yeah, Wall has a monster contract. What's up, Romans, sorry. That 100% KPJ needs to keep his head screwed on for sure. Vladdy Jr. The Blue Jays need to calm themselves down because I wanted to buy the Vlad Jr. dip when they missed the playoffs, and then they had to go ahead and start playing out of their freaking mind, and now his card prices went back up again. It'll probably depend on how this last couple weeks plays out. The narrative is starting to switch on that, but we'll see what happens. Bold take, though. I've never been big on the Trout rookie. I've just never, I don't know. It's just, I'm like not the biggest baseball guy in the world, but I don't know. There's like a million other cards I'd rather own instead of the Trout rookie, to be honest. I'm sure it'll be a fun product. I'm not a hockey guy, so I can't speak to like this year's rookie class or anything. Jays could win it all. Jays are really good. I really wanted to buy Vlad and Bo Bichette, and they're not going to dip now. So thanks, Blue Jays. Messed up that plan. Yeah, you're not wrong, but they're going to look at the body of work and the fact that he's pitching too, even though that hasn't gone as well lately. I just think it's going to take a lot to change that narrative, but it could happen. It's not always about pop, though. Pop is balanced by demand. Always remember that. There's 2 sides to the pop report. There you go. Elliot in Vegas, not a hockey guy, and I am not touching Metal Universe. Shh, on the Bo Bichette talk. He just seems really undervalued. Devers still seems really undervalued too. There is around me. I don't know if you're speaking Ohio specific. The Hartville, Ohio show is on Saturday at the flea market. I will be going to that most likely. As long as I don't go to Card Collector 2 trade night, I will be going to the Hartville show. For those that missed it earlier, I kind of opened with if you're in Ohio or the near area, you can make a hell of a weekend trip. Card Collector 2 trade night Friday night. Hartville show, which is not that big of a show, but it's a pretty solid local show. I go there all the time on Saturday morning. and then one of one sports cards in Cleveland trade night on Saturday night. So a busy 24 hours or so for me. No Raiders hat after the big win. Nice try. It's sitting on the desk next to me. Actually, you can see it. It's right there. Right there is the Cavs / Raiders hat. Is this InvestiCard? Yeah, send me your cards and then I'll loan you money and gouge you. I mean, we don't get to decide the demand. The market decides the demand. I'm not going to get into a Trout better than pool host debate. I just don't follow hockey at all, so I wouldn't know the hockey market if it smacked me in the face. I believe Personal Finance Stat and Flipping Steve will be at the Raleigh show on Saturday. At present prices, Burrow. I do think Herbert's probably the better quarterback, but if you're talking about buying in at present prices, I like the idea of Burrow's stuff continuing to dip the next couple weeks and maybe sneaking in on some of that stuff. Spoilers for tomorrow's video on that comment, by the way. That's what I literally talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow is a football-centric video. I have no opinion on the graded video game market because I'm not planning on entering the graded video game market. Does CSG become a bigger threat than people think because of the money they have? I mean, Ruben, Jay-Z, big backers. Maybe. The market's going to market just because something has an astronomical ton of money behind it. I think they're here to stay. Like, I don't think they go away like some of the other pop-up grading companies do. I don't know if I see them challenging for top spot anytime soon. That could absolutely happen. I don't necessarily see it happening. I think they have a lot of stuff they need to overcome before they get anywhere close to that point. They have a couple really big things going against them. Everyone hates their label. Everyone hates the color of the label, the design of the label, basically everything about the label. The other thing is, which they could fix this, but I just don't like the fact that it's this bad already. Their backlog is terrible, like absolutely terrible. They have a monster turnaround time on all their submission levels, and it's like 3 months on top of the posted turnaround times because they don't start the turnaround times until the orders are checked in, like old school PSA, and they're like 2 to 3 months behind on checking in orders on top of that. That's just not a great look for a brand new company. Like, you guys have been open for like 6 months, 8 months, I guess. I just don't understand how you let it got that bad that fast. Like, you should have limited stuff, price increases, whatever you got to do, because I just don't see how you get through that backlog. Interesting comment on grading today, too. I saw there was a quote from the industry summit on Beckett. BGS said if they don't accept another card from today going forward, they would have enough cards to keep them busy for an entire year, which blows my mind because I don't know that many people submitting to BGS, and I don't understand what the hell they're doing. I checked the blowout forum, and people are still getting orders back from last June. So, like, what the hell have you been doing, Beckett? I do not understand what is going on over there. I really do not. Monday Night Football was absolutely wild. I went 4-0 in fantasy this week. I won all 4 of my leagues. Beat Flipping Steve, and then won my 3, we'll call them home leagues. I would agree with this statement on 2020 quarterbacks. Most of them are overinflated. Jalen Hurts is an interesting play. The thing about Burrow is I think Burrow is going to be an interesting play because I think Burrow stuff is going to keep going down because that team's not good. Graded Sports Illustrateds are interesting. I don't know if they'll hold good long term value, but I like the idea of them as display pieces. I mean, Herbert drastically outplayed Burrow last year. I feel like he's on a better team and has a better supporting cast, and that matters in football. You could be an excellent quarterback, and if you're stuck on a bad team, you're just toast. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, CSG like maybe years from now, but I worry that they're gonna put themselves in such a hole that it's gonna be a problem to get out of it. What is my take on HGA losing the Devers one of one mess? Oh boy, I feel like I'm getting baited into trouble here. It sucks. It really sucks. Yes, other companies have lost things, I'm sure. This one feels a little different because it got lost while it's in their possession. I feel like a lot of the other stuff gets lost like in the mail to and from, or gets damaged while it's at whatever grading company you want to talk about. This one got lost after it was graded. I don't know if it was before it was slabbed, but it graded, moved on to the next stage, the way that I understand it, and then disappeared. It's a terrible look for that company. Everyone looks for any excuse possible to jump all over them. Are they over criticized? Yes, probably. Should they be? I don't know. My biggest problem with them is they literally came out of nowhere as a strip mall grader with zero history behind them, and they got put on the map because of a fancy label. That's the only reason people cared about HGA, was because of the label. Cool, great marketing, good job, guys. They had nothing to say that they were good graders, good card graders, whatever, other than mystical AI. And people crown them as like the saviors of sports card grading because they had a fancy label. So that's always been my issue with them, is people putting a ton of faith in them when they are literally GMA with a better label. They're a little bit fancier than GMA, to be completely fair, but and yeah, their owner is very responsive and seems to take care of stuff quickly, but I just feel like they can't get out of their own way. They had the label errors. Um, they've had some other mishaps. They had that abysmal marketing video that came out. Like, I don't, everything that they do, I just question of like, if you're letting this happen, why should I trust you with my cards? And then this happens on top of it, is like just like another thing on the pile of um things with them. Like that marketing video, to me, as someone, that looks at that, I viewed that as, if this was so unprofessionally done and then someone sat in a room and greenlit that to go out, it just makes me question the entire operation from top to bottom. And nothing in that video impressed me. Now they're supposed to be doing a reveal of their AI, whatever that means. I think this week, so I'll be curious to see what that looks like, because they've been talking about this. People put so much faith into this mystical AI that we know nothing about. So that's been my biggest problem with them, is can you at least like prove yourselves to me before we anoint you guys as like the savior of grading? It's cool for PC cards. I'm strictly talking about them from the perspective of putting cards in their slabs to hold value down the line and to flip them. That's my whole approach to grading. So when I look at grading and grading companies, that is my mentality for looking at them. And I'm sure I am a mile behind on chat now, because that got me on a rant. Yep. Happens all the time. The problem with holding grading card, the problem with buying cards and holding the slab in hopes that the grading company gets better and prices correct, is twofold. One, you're taking a risk that that happens, and two, you're taking a risk on holding whatever the card is that's in the slab. So I don't like doing that. I don't like buying a slab on spec that it's going to gain market share reputation. Sorry, I fell way behind on chat. I'm trying to catch up. Am I going to invest in Mobley? No, he's a big guy. Will I buy some if I see a cool looking card for PC purposes? Maybe. Select in general took a beating because of the Select brand hit, basically. I like both, to be honest. SGA and De'Aaron Fox both intrigue me. I don't know. Vlad looks pretty freaking good. Yeah, reholder's on a different time. It depends on what you submitted at, but reholder's a little bit different. I do not collect graded collectibles, and that's actually not vintage. That came out this year. That Slave 1 is the retro Slave 1 from Kenner this year. It looks vintage, but it's actually not. BGS had the opportunity to win back a ton of stuff and completely blew it. Will DC cards become a thing? In my opinion, no, because they don't have the MCU. I mean, if you just bought it, I wouldn't sell it for the same price you just bought it for. You can sell it and make money. You're not attached to the card. Sure. Absolutely. You can make a profit. I'm not a big Donruss base guy to begin with, so it's not something I'd be chasing. Sealed Wax 2020. We talking basketball or football? Between the two, I would want probably Prism, because Prism's always going to be the sexier name. Bengals are pretty bad. Their offensive line's terrible. They're going to get smashed each week on that respect alone, which is going to hurt Burrow. Low end Mahomes, probably base Donruss, even though I just said I'm not a big base Donruss guy. On the older stuff, it's not as bad. Maybe. I think PSA would buy SGC before anyone else would. I'll probably be at Hartville on Saturday, and I'll be at 101 trade night on Saturday, most likely. BGS or PSA for auto authentication. I'm not a big rookie. I'm not a big insert guy, unless it's like case hit stuff like downtowns and kabooms. Maybe net marvels from the first year, but like I'm not chasing instant impacts on stuff or Donruss the rookies. I'm not big on those at all. It could. AI equals real fancy scanner. Oh, I've caught up to the HGA comments probably. My last 3 eBay purchases. Oh God, I don't even know what they were, to tell you the truth. I haven't bought much on eBay lately. Let me look. Purchase history. My last eBay purchase was August 13th. Trae Young PSA 9 silver. Prior to that was a Baker Mayfield Immaculate RPA on July 29th. That's my CSG slab. And then prior to that was the Topps Chrome Chalk Toss PSA 10 LeBron, July 26th. Those are my last 3 eBay purchases. Everything that I've bought recently has been off of IG or my slabs. They got Allen Iverson grading. That's funny. I think regarding the older select stuff, I think field level and court sides are pretty safe. I worry about the other stuff, honestly. Tennessee, I believe 357. Knoxville, I think. I'm not the best for the 90s grading stuff. You could send them in either way. PSA will grade both ways, I know, with like they'll mark it with coding or without coding. People have hot takes on that. I don't, because I don't play in 90s stuff very often. So I assume this is in regards to HGA Bazooka Tom. A lot of people, this is the other problem with HGA. Not just HGA, but like a lot of these companies now, a lot of the smaller companies are going the HGA route with like custom labels and this, that, and the other thing. The problem with that is you're shrinking your buying pool even more because less people are going to want HGA. And then on top of that, now you have custom labels that some people are really going to like and some people are not really going to like. So that makes it even more difficult. Yeah, I agree. Vlad is not like a lot of other players. I'm not going to sit here and put him on Ted Williams level, but literally see today's video system trend. Today's video was about Marvel Series 1 cards. SGC and Vintage is a different ball game. That's their wheelhouse. Oops. I've never read the comics, but I watched season 1 on Amazon, and it was amazing on Invincible. I would much rather have PSA 9s of the silvers or the hollows over a 10 of the base any day of the week. Not even close. HGA 9 is a death sentence. I will not be at the Philly show. I have not set up as a dealer. I prefer to walk around. I don't know if we know yet, Pinto. This football market's been wild to start this season. ASM 300, ASM 316. I'm sure there's some I'm forgetting, but those are probably the two biggest ones. If you think that they end up giving Tom Holland the black suit, ASM 252, which is actually sitting right there, that guy, very undervalued in my opinion. I like that book a lot. Pretty low census in general, and not terribly expensive. It's not cheap in a 9.8. I forget what they go for now. Maybe 15, 16, 1700-ish. Can you talk about, I mean, just searching for the cards, you know what I mean? Or reaching out to people on IG that I know are sellers or whatever. It might help me on IG, not Facebook, because I don't have a Facebook. I don't have a professional Facebook account, so I'm just Joe Smo on Facebook. Most people don't know my full real name, so I don't know how much that helps me. On IG, maybe some, and I'll have people reach out to me on IG as well. You know, like, hey, are you interested in this or whatever? Do Marvel movie releases affect graded comic book market? Yes, the MCU has a massive impact on the comic book market. Massive. It usually happens well before the movie releases. It happens at casting. If an actor is casted to play a character, and that means no one knew that that character was coming, key books of that character will really spike. Depends on how Tua plays. Tua could be like game manager Tua, and you might not get that high. I haven't looked lately. I've been focused, to be quite honest. I've been focused way more on comic books in regards to looking at things to buy than cards lately. I kind of go through these phases. I'm not 100% sold on Tua. Optic Basketball is a good product. I am not a fan of the 2020 rookie class. So it's not something I'm going to chase. Oh, there you go. Not sure if I'm going to be at CC2 on Friday. I will most likely for sure be at 1 of 1 on Saturday. That's my hesitancy for CC2 because I really want to go to 101. It's their first time doing this. So I want to make sure that I support them for that. And 2 trade nights, back-to-back nights, and the CC2 one most likely involves having to get a hotel room on top of it. I'm questionable for that one. I did not buy any Taylor Henneke cards. The profit margin is there. Am I super smart or super stupid to get cards graded at SGC? And if I hit a 9, 5, or 10, get them graded at PSA when submission prices are lower? If I'm going to go through all that hassle, I'm just going to sell them in the SGC slab. And just take the money and turn it over faster and not play the waiting game. I would rather just churn and burn the money than sit on the cards and risk something happening. I have not opened any Topps Chrome Star Wars. That product kind of snuck up on me. And then I went to look at it, and box prices were astronomically expensive already. Like they had almost doubled in price. And I was like, well, I'll stick to Spider-Man Metal. If Baker gets traded to a different team, would you still PC him or sell everything? I would probably sell everything. Mahomes is overpriced or going to the moon. It just depends. If you think Mahomes has so much baked into him, it gets tricky with him. But he has the team and the talent to back it up. So Mahomes is a very interesting gamble, if you will, because for him to continue to go up, he basically has to win the Super Bowl. And if they don't win the Super Bowl, then his stuff's going to drop. So I just think Mahomes is a very, very tricky market for that reason, because there's just so much baked into his price compared to other guys. And holy hell, I caught up on chat. It's a miracle. It is a miracle. So what else is going on in the Wonder World of Sports? I guess the key question is, what does the week 2 football market look like? Which set in football would you compare to NBA hoops? Probably score, maybe, give or take. Global sports card investor. What is going on, buddy? I'm not big on Eternal stuff, and I feel like we missed the window on that already. Like that would you want to buy the stuff before early in the game. And I'm not up on the Eternals market. It's not something I look at. I've watched 0 minutes, seconds of Drive to Survive. Washington, and it's not even close. Giants look terrible. If Trevor Lawrence does everything right moving forward, Big Star One's the best time to buy. Probably sometime during this season or this off season, because they're not going to be good this year, even if he plays well. That Jaguars team's terrible, and Urban Meyer is a train wreck as an NFL coach. What would you do with Giannis? Buy and hold? I don't know if I would buy, but I currently own a Giannis rookie BGS 9.5 Prism, and I am holding. I could have sold when they won the NBA title, and I decided to hold. I don't know if Wild Card's coming back. That's not normally a product that I would look at. OSU's defense is not very good, is what happened to OSU. Pizza. Favorite football watching meal? Pizza. Not even close. Are you going to grade any G.I. Joe? Not anytime soon, because there's PSA prices are too high. I'm not a big Mookie Betts guy. There's other people I would rather put money into on the baseball side of things. Like, there's a decent possibility Mookie may just be washed. I'm not saying that's like a for sure thing, but that absolutely could be a thing. If I had Jameis, I'd be selling as fast as humanly possible. Star stock action picking up with any sports or still slow? Star stock is crickets for me. But to be fair, I don't have a lot posted for sale on Star stock right now. Other than a bunch of like 10-cent junk that I sent in. I have a few cards that I'm holding back. But yeah, I talked about this on Dakota's live stream. I really feel like they've kind of lost their way a little bit, um, if you will. It just feels like they care more about breaks than they do their actual product in regards to selling. What do white pages mean when it comes to comic book grading? It means the pages are white. That's not a problem on modern books. On older books, they will go off white to white or cream to off white, cream to white. It just means the coloring of the pages, because older comic books, the page color will fade. So instead of being a crisp white, they begin to fade. So. I don't know what this means. Theranos? I don't get that reference. I've been looking at the stuff for buy on Star Stock. Like I literally, I have a tab dedicated to Star Stock on my second monitor, and I refresh it a couple times an hour probably. Whenever I'm over there, and I'm always cruising through looking for PSA slabs to buy, and I just don't usually see much. And anytime I go to look at a player on there that I'm interested in, people are like astronomically above comps on whatever it is. So I just kind of pass and keep on cruising. At this point in time, I mean, I think I would wait unless you think he's just going to go crazy in the playoffs. I think they're at the top of this. Padres are in the playoffs, right? I haven't looked at the MLB NL playoff standings in a while. Oh, well, actually, they're fighting for the wild card. So, assuming they make the playoffs, I would just wait for them to get bounced. It depends on the card. I think eventually he does win an MVP or a championship, to be quite honest. It might not be on the Mavericks, but I think he gets there. He's just too good. I am a Luka truther. I know nothing about F1 cards beyond what Hannah tells me at She Collects Cards. She is my go-to source when it comes to F1 stuff. But I have no interest in F1, so I won't be buying F1. Did not get that. I'd probably be selling Teddy Bridgewater if I had him. Most of these guys, most of these fringe quarterbacks, once again, I literally talk about this in tomorrow's video. I would just take the money and run. I'm not looking to buy into them. Check 130 point and see what sold comps are. That's your best bet. Week 1 in fantasy went great. I 4-0'd. I'm in 4 leagues. I won every single one of them. So can't be much better than that. Yeah, but vintage is boring. I mean, you're not wrong, but vintage is boring, in my opinion. Interesting question here. Do you believe what Josh Luber said at the industry summit when he said card shops will be better off in 5 years than they are now? I tend to, because I do believe he collects, so he kind of gets it. Um, and he has full control over to make that true or not. So I think he understands their importance in the general market slash ecosystem. I think card shops, especially well ran ones, don't have a lot to worry about. I bet he wouldn't say the same thing about distributors. I don't see there being third party distribution in the future. I could be wrong. I don't know that, end of the community or that business, but that seems like the people to get cut completely out. Why would they sell it to a distributor for $100 a box, for the distributor to sell it to Card Collector 2 for 500 a box, for him to sell it to us for 800 a box, when Fanatics can just sell it to Card Collector 2 for 500 a box? And then they still get their extra profit back out of it. And Card Collector 2 or whatever shop you want to insert still gets to buy it at a discounted price to sell it for a higher price at retail. So I do tend to believe what he said. I mean, I wasn't there. I wasn't looking the guy in the eyes or anything crazy like that. But I don't have a great answer on Mahomes, to be honest with you. There's just so much baked into his price. He basically has to win a Super Bowl to maintain or go up. F1 Chrome has gone. F1 wax prices have gone absolutely insane lately, for sure. They're better with OBJ on the field. I don't think that's really debatable. He just stretches the field like nobody else does. I have a Baker jersey upstairs, not framed or anything, but advertise, marketing, and a good space, and lots of vendors. But you got to get the word out, and you have to have the vendors to back it up. If you don't have people setting up, more vendors you have set up, the bigger the crowd will draw, in my opinion. And have a nice, well ventilated, not super hot, not super cold, not super cramped space. Well lit, good space is key. Mostly X-Men stuff right now in regards to comic books. You are welcome, Beavis. It's boring because there's no action in it. I can't watch the guys play. It's not a day trading market. I say this all the time lately. The quote that I steal is from Heat: "The action is the juice." I want the action. I want to buy on Monday, have the guy play well, and then the card go up 40% and flip it the next week. That's what excites me about. Like, that's the fun part. That doesn't happen in vintage that often. I am not up on Funko Pop grading. Do I miss ripping wax? Yes. Ripping wax is fun. But not at inflated prices, and you're gonna lose money on it. They didn't. They just said that OBJ is out this week. That's all we know. Baker, of course, I'm going to stand by Baker Mayfield. He's my boy. Come on, that's a trap question. Do you think Fanatics will still have allocations direct to the consumer? You mean, like, are they going to sell direct to the consumer from their website? If that's the question, then absolutely yes. Hey, parts of the National were well lit. The right-hand side of the building was well lit. The left-hand side of the building was not. Yeah, I mean, The Browns lost that game against the Chiefs, but they played extremely well as a team. They had two mistakes, and it cost them the game. Chubb fumbled, and then the punter just dropped the ball on the ground. Like, you can't give the Chiefs the ball on their 15-yard or your own 15-yard line and expect to win the game. That does not happen. I think he's a future GOAT, to be honest. He already won two MVPs. He has an NBA championship. He's extremely young. He has a long career ahead of him. So I don't know that he wins another title on the Bucks. I think his next title comes on another team. I think he finishes out his current contract with the Bucks and then leaves. I just don't know if I see the Bucks getting back to the finals in the East, at least if the Nets are healthy. Nets are a monster. Um, Boy, I haven't bid on a card in auction in a while, to be honest. Probably something Baker related, but I couldn't tell you what off the top of my head. Oh, actually, I know which one it was. It was a Baker. It was an NT, which I didn't think I was going to bid high enough to get this, so this is almost like a fake answer. It was a Baker Mayfield NT booklet out of 5 Nike laundry tag auto. I think I bid like a K and it went for like 12 or 1300. Yeah, Browns Chiefs was a ton of fun. They were absolutely Browns played as good as you could play in the first half and then played terribly in the third quarter. I'll take Luca over Tatum 10 out of 10 times. And I like Tatum. That's no slant on Tatum at all. I do like Tatum. Beal will be on a different team by the time that happens. Oh boy, THT. Yeah, I mean, he could. He's that type of player. The hobby loves him. He's like Bull esque. Uh, that if he gets a little buzz, has a couple good games. I don't know what his playing time situation is going to be like since that roster reshuffled with Westbrook and stuff there now. Um, but he could get some preseason hype or buzz. I wouldn't put anything past it. The card market likes to get nutty sometimes, for sure. A very, very good NFL quarterback. He's not flashy. He's like plain Jane. He should do pretty well on the Rams. Probably going to have a pretty good season. I don't know how that translates to card prices, though. I don't know what his current prices are at, so I don't want to be like, sure, run out and buy his stuff if it's super high priced. Have you ever bought a comic or card with a scratched or scuffed slab? Not that I could think of off the top of my head that was bad enough for me to fret over. Biggest disappointment in the hobby besides the PSA holdup? Hmm. My knee jerk is Beckett dropping the ball on literally everything. I kind of want a non-grading company answer, but that's the first one that popped into my head. Like, Beckett really missed an opportunity here with all this. BGS 10 over PSA 10. It used to be way bigger. That number has shrunk recently, I believe. I have not looked at BGS 10 pricing in a hot minute. I would say around double, give or take, but that might be too low. It really varies depending on the card. There's not like a real hard and fast rule for multiplier of PSA 10 to BGS 10. Probably, I'm sure. Yeah, most likely. I'll be doing a bunch of preseason NBA content. Were you a Browns fan during the Kozar and Couch years? Yes, I've been a Browns fan for as long as I can remember. One of my earliest memories as a kid when it comes to the Browns is the Elway drive. So that dates me a little bit and also tells you that I'm OG Browns. Matt Ryan or Carson Wentz? Neither. Neither. I would put money into neither would be my answer to that. They do sell like specific plastic buffing stuff to get that stuff out. I've just never had to use it and I don't know what it is. Investicard would be a good answer for that previous question. I would take Murray or Wilson in a heartbeat out of those three. I just think they have way more upside than Stafford does. They're sexier. Stafford's not sexy. He's a boring. I'm gonna drop back and I'm gonna play a really good game. Uh, but he's not gonna run around the field and make highlight plays like Kyler or Russell is going to. Thoughts on Derek Carr? Do you want me to go all Vegas Dave on you right now and say that you should buy every Derek Carr card under $20,000 or whatever nonsense he was spouting? He's fine. I don't know that he's going to win you a Super Bowl, but he's not like the worst of the worst. I usually go back at 9.5 to PSA 10, and it used to be about 60%. I haven't looked at a BGS 9.5 slab in a while. I will not be at the Vegas card show. Prior to about a month ago, I would have told you PWCC. Now I guess Burbank, Probstein, DC Sports Cards, I think it's called. Um, there's another one too, PCP Sports Cards or something, PC Sports Cards, DC Sports Cards. I don't remember. I've never had to use a consigner, so I've never put a ton of money into it. Funny thing about Investicard was I see Dakota did a video yesterday or today on it, Sports Cards Anonymous, about that they updated the website very quickly after both of our videos. So I don't want to say it was directly because of either me or Dakota, but I'm sure Dakota's didn't help or gave him a little push in that direction. But yeah, I guess they overhauled the website and added a bunch of information to it that he was really slamming them on. So good on him and good on them, I guess, for at least updating the website. Just because they have a better updated website doesn't mean like I still like the program. I did not see that. That's insane. I could not imagine sending that card to SGC. Their defense was atrocious. I'm not surprised. M Perk, what's going on, buddy? What are your thoughts on changing eBay listings from bin to auction and back for more eyeballs? Worth taking the time to do. I've never done that. I just list it bin / best offer and promote the listing. It's way easier. That sounds like way more work. No, but if you come up with one, let me know because I have a John Morant redemption that's been sitting there for almost a year now that I would like to get back. I would if it was any other player, I would just trade it in and get something else. But I like Ja, and I have no Ja autos, and I pulled that out of the Hoops Premium box that I bought myself as a Christmas present. I forgot about them. I have heard good things about Four Sharp Corners. I don't no personal experience with them, but I have heard from multiple people that they are very good to work with. So potentially look into them. You can hold on to them and turn them into national for Panini black boxes if you still have the tickets. Sorry, just checking something on off screen here. What up, Tom? What is going on? Sorry, just checking some eBay watch list stuff. Thought I had something I wanted to keep my eyes on tonight, and I don't want to miss it, but it might have been tomorrow. Okay, I got a couple hours on that stuff. All right. Good luck, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure they have something for that, but I don't know what the trade-in program for expired redemptions are for overseas people. I'm just glad football's back. It is exciting, and I am ready for basketball as well. I think there's going to be some very interesting. I talk about this in the video for tomorrow. Tomorrow's video is like a more in-depth version of Monday's video where I went through market movers and looked at a bunch of football stuff. I think there's going to be some real good buying opportunities if some of these guys continue to struggle, like Burrow, Josh Allen, etc. Sam, what is up? What is going on, Sam? I sent you a DM on IG a while ago to see if you wanted to hop on this thing, but you ignored me, Sam. It's fine. Sam from Women of the Hobby had one of the most epic fantasy football losses I have ever seen. I did not realize how it was going. And then I looked, and then we were talking on IG, and it was, let me find it. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. Sam played Dakota in week 1 of the fantasy league, and it did not go well for her in a very comical. I beat Flipping Steve week 1, so I have that going for me. Where did that game go? Oh, we're gonna show it off real quick. I sent you the thing. You used to check IG all the time. Now all of a sudden you don't check IG anymore. Hold on. Share screen. Share screen. Let me share the right screen. Look at this nonsense. Sam lost by 3 points to Dakota because she got 1.3 points out of Aaron Rodgers and -1 out of Ravens defense. Look at this. -1 and 1.32. Lost to Dakota. 122.6 to 119.22. Talk about a rough one. I thought you had this locked up when I looked at it earlier in the day. And then I cannot believe you let Dakota beat you. I'm so disappointed. There was an interesting sweat going on during that Ravens fourth quarter / almost overtime where I thought she was going to come back and win. And then it didn't happen. You actually lost by a little bit more than 0.42. There must have been a small stat correction somewhere. Look, the people, Australia demands your presence on this live stream. Yeah, I don't know how it gets any worse than this. This is pretty bad. I don't know how this happens. Here, we'll see. Look, I beat Steve by 20, and I got a 0 out of Odell Beckham Jr., and I still managed to pull off a win. So, just saying. Brady's all-time GOAT level. I don't, his stuff's gonna do. Uh, well, Sam's giving excuses on why she can't get on a live stream on the other on the old IG chat there. She has to put up content on her own YouTube channel. I guess that's a valid excuse. I'm starting Gronk week 2. I have Gronk in another team that he is starting for me week 2 for sure. Sam's my girl. I like talking to Sam. Sam's good people. Do you think championships will be tarnished during the pandemic? I think because many players and coaches miss time. No, I don't think so. If anything, it's harder to win a championship during the pandemic. I don't know who I play in week 2. Do I play Dakota? Who do I play week 2? Not Dakota. I don't know who I play in week 2. I'm unfamiliar with this person that I play in week 2. Am I favored? I am favored to win in week 2. Haha! Is Steve right live right now too? On YouTube? What? Oh, Steve's driving right now? What? I didn't know that. That's funny. Tell Steve in the other stream I said what's up. Is he on his way home or on his way to work? I didn't realize he was streaming too. You did not miss my thoughts on the Batman comic over 1 million. I'm not surprised by that after the Spider-Man one went for 3.6. Not surprised by that at all. Let me see. What's Steve doing over here?
Smarter to wear.
Steve like on his way to work or on his way home? It's already getting pretty close. Sorry, I'm in the twilight zone here. I commented on Steve's live stream while I'm live streaming. Jeff, what's going on, buddy? Jeff, Tom Brady the GOAT will be at 101. How'd Strongsville finish up to you? We were both at the Strongsville show on Sunday morning. I bought nothing. I missed out. I was so mad. I'll tell a quick story from the Strongsville card show on Sunday. Strongsville, Ohio had their first card show of the year. They run them during the fall and winter. And I was walking around, and on my way out the door, someone had a Flawless Baker Sapphire jersey number auto. And someone was working a deal for it. Cash plus trade. And I stood there for 10 minutes while they went back and forth, hoping this deal was going to fall through. And it didn't. The guy ended up closing the deal for the card. I think he got a pretty good deal on it. And I was not happy. I was going to try to trade other Baker stuff into it. And missed. So Big show? I don't know. Maybe Atlanta in January. I don't know. It just depends. I really wanted to go to the Causeway show on the 16th of October, but I don't think I can make it happen. I'll probably stick local for a while. So I think what was I gonna say? I think Steve and Dustin are going to the Raleigh show on Saturday. I answered your question, Serious Drama. I said Optic Hollow. I think it already is close, and I think it does catch or pass it. I love Optic Hollows. Winning a cornhole tournament. I thought that didn't go on until 10. I thought they were starting late tonight. Is that not the case? I feel like that was a later stream than normal, but I could be wrong. Oh, it says 9 p.m. Maybe I'll go over them. I don't know. We'll see. See how the night goes. I'll get Steve on this one and we'll compete against them. Comics are always a play, especially X-Men stuff. I'm not going to the Philly show. It's more vintage, I believe. Not my scene. I mean, like ASM 300 came down quite a bit. CGC 98 still like $7,000 or like high sixes. But that's down from where it was. It was like 9K at one point in time. Michael Ham, what is going on? Yeah, the problem is I don't know that the hype's gonna die down because it came out today that it's basically for sure gonna happen with uh Tom Hardy and Tom Holland crossing into the same movie. So if that happens, then it's gonna be game over on that stuff. But I'm mostly looking at X-Men stuff because it kind of dipped back down again and it has the most potential to shoot back up. Prism silvers are only $100. That's interesting. Maybe I'll see if Steve wants to come on. Let me hold on. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I was gonna wrap up soon, but if I can get Steve in here, I'll go a little longer. I messaged Dakota. He never messaged me back. So you could all tell Dakota he's a punk. I tried to get Dakota on here a while ago. He never returned my call. That's how it is. That's how he does me. A YouTube showdown. If I can get Steve on here, I'll go longer. If I can't, I'll probably wrap by 9 to not overlap with Dustin and Brad. I was actually also curious to watch that because I just kind of wanted to see what the industry summit was stuff was going on. Hey man, if you made a good profit, take the money and run. Worry about it later. Thanks, Jonas. Hey, Cody, what's going on? Cody, one of my buddies from the local scene. I don't know yet. I'm still debating whether I want to go to Card Collector 2 or not, but I am leaning towards Hartville Saturday morning and then 101 Saturday night and not going to Card Collector 2 on Friday. I really want a 181. I really want a 181. That's my next big purchase monkey that I want to get off my back. I don't know that I want to make that play now. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I am very intrigued by a Hulk 181. What? Sam, you're not allowed to give advice on who comes on the show when you have an open invite to come on and you refuse. Go back to posting your stuff to your channel. I like that long live stream from a week ago. It lasted me like 5 walks. Do not chase. Like I said the other day in the video, do not chase uh, new Donruss product. 357. I tried. She refused. She's big time. See, Sam, the people demand it, and you don't give the people what they want. I'm not as familiar with the modern Marvel stuff other than the X-Men metal stuff, so I don't know. I can't give like a good answer on that because I just don't know the product that well. I'm sure you could easily get the Investacard CEO to join your stream. Ah, that's funny. I would love to be a fly on the wall, like when they watched Dakota's video, because you know they did. Oh, I didn't know he won a Messi. Oh, I did see that on IG actually. Mm-mm-mm. That's true. I'll give Dakota some slack. Look at this. I sent Steve an invite. I don't know what he's doing. He probably had to like change his clothes and eat dinner and stuff. Steve has an invite sitting in his IG inbox right now, and he has seen it. I can see it right now. I'm looking at it in the screen. Seen just now by flipping Steve. I mean, prison football is going to be hot because this is a really good rookie class. A lot of rookies. I really missed the boat on Marvel Anime. I kind of wanted to rip that product. I almost bought some, and then it kind of got priced out. Justifiably so, in my opinion, on the Dakota rant. Dakota has like almost 3.5K subs, 4K subs. That's a pretty good size. Just assume they're overprinting everything. Oh, I'm sure eBay will crack down on them immediately for shill bidding, you know, because that's what they do now. Oh, wait, they don't. Whoops. Oh, you did end up getting some of the Tatisas that you were looking at? No, I don't buy wax. I'm not pre-ordering Prism Football. Yeah, I mean, I did that research on Anthony Edwards Silver Prism, and that was like right in the money zone for that card. Yeah, I am not sweating my bakers. I don't know much about Tyson Beck. The name sounds really familiar. Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, of the new stuff, I would wait for Prism Football. When it comes to the modern cards, I'm a Prism Optics select of the base level stuff. Yeah, Project 2020. I knew that sounded familiar. 2 chances for me to get a Luca Optic Hollow off you. If you still had that Tatum Select Silver, we might be able to work something out. The optic's gone up nicely. I bought that for like $850. I think last comp was like $1,300 on that card already. Anthony Edwards seems fun in interviews from what I've seen. I did not look in the Series 2 G.I. Joe cards. What am I selling right now? I actually only have 2 cards listed for sale right now. I mean, I'm all like I always listen at like a trade night or whatever, but like actively trying to move. Um, I have this currently listed. Devers Purple Refractor. I'm looking to move this. So if anyone's interested, feel free to hit me up. Uh, just to free up some capital. I like Devers, but I just want money freed up to buy other stuff. And then I'm looking to divest some of my Trae Young since I have so much of it. So I have this up right now too. The Trae Young. Come on, autofocus. Autofocus. The premium box. It's not going to come into focus. The PSA 10 that I have. You guys have seen this before. I've showed it a million times. Those are the only 2 cards I'm like actively looking to move. You can just DM me on Instagram, Wes. Probably the best place. I think the last comp is like 650 last time I checked. But someone can absolutely double check me on that. Yeah, I'm not a crypto guy. So what I did lately, or not lately, like a month ago, was when I bought all those Trey and Luca Optic Hollows and stuff. Uh, um, sorry, I was getting messages on the side screen there. Sorry. I moved off a lot of my base stuff and used the profits from that to get silvers and hollows. So I downgraded, not downgraded. I streamlined. I forget the word that I'm looking for. Condensed. Got rid of a large stack of stuff to a smaller stack of stuff. Streamlined, I guess. If it's that far off center, just sell it raw. Don't force a grade. You guys don't have to sell cards graded. I try serious trauma. It's hard to keep up that way. What camera do I use? This right here is a Canon Rebel 7 Ti. Is what I am looking at right there. And then I also use a Sony ZV-1 for my desktop camera. Any underscored Ohio sports cards. Uh, Prism Optics Select. Well, I don't. Select's a weird place right now. Of the affordable stuff, those 3. Of the other stuff, I really like Flawless. Of the higher end. I have some Funkos, but not from like a collectability standpoint. Just ones that I think look cool sitting on my desk. When bulk PSA submissions open back up, do you think 90 MU for 700 is a good buy? I don't know because there's a lot sitting at PSA and bulk submissions already. I never really collected Magic. I played Magic, so you know. I never really looked at it as a collectible back then. I was strictly a player. Do you sell on other platforms besides eBay? Yeah, My Slabs and Starstock and IG. No nameplate. What product is that out of? This SSP no nameplate Trevor Lawrence graded. I'll be at 101 on Saturday night, most likely trading. So 101 card shop in Strongsville, trade night Saturday. I talk about this tomorrow a little bit, Mperk. I really don't know. I really do not know regarding week 2 NFL. Um, does the market still get super overreactionary or does it level out? I don't know. I really don't. My gut tells me players that play well are going to continue to go up. Do I have a favorite player in each sport to collect? Not really. Um, I mean, I think they really need to do this. I just haven't seen official word of this yet. All I've seen is weird rumors about it. Not saying you're making it up or anything, but I'm not going to go crazy on this until I officially see it from them. But in general, I think it's a good idea. Super short print, Trevor Lawrence. Okay. I mean, you think it could 10? Yeah. Chris K. Hello, Neo. Any Marvel Universe card video updates coming? Literally, this morning's video was this. Like, comment, and subscribe. Just kidding. But yeah, Chris, literally today's video was Marvel cards. Boy, that's a stretch. No, the best set's gonna be one of the masterpieces or 2013 Fleer Retro. Washington and not even close. I to me, Kyler's the one, and Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts has a second really good week, I think his stuff could continue to spike. To be honest, um, but we will see. Kyler is the one guy. He's I literally talked about this in tomorrow's video. He has the best young talent around him. Um, and a lot of hype around him, and he's still relatively underpriced. Like his base PSA 10 Prism is like half of Josh Allen's and Lamar Jackson's, not Lamar Jackson's, but Josh Allen's. So he has a lot of room to go still on his stuff. It's kind of the way it should be. I think Fanatics is going to put a ton of money behind marketing. I think you're going to see advertisements for sports cards during games. I think you're going to see players much more involved in the hobby. Yeah, Juiceco stuff's always going to have a ton of respect. All good, Chris. But yeah, this morning's video was Marvel. Was I talk about the PMG stuff and some other nonsense. I think it's too soon to say on the Steelers. I don't know that Big Ben's still any good. Hop Sam still in chat, not on stream. Unacceptable. I have Hopkins in my dynasty league. I'm very actually I have Kyler Murray and Hopkins on the same team in my dynasty league. That is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I own no Herbert, so it's hard for me to like give Herbert hot takes in regards to buying or selling. I probably would have sold before the season started, honestly. That's just me. I don't like to carry football in the season. Seems like a stretch. Yeah, that's an interesting, weird product. Hurts is fun to watch. I don't know how good of an actual quarterback he is, but damn, is he fun to watch. Marvel Masterpieces just have a lot of respect as a set. There are a lot of people in the Marvel card world that really enjoy Masterpieces, and the pop counts are going to be astronomically lower. Here's the thing about Masterpieces: you cannot rip a box of that today and grade it, most likely. Probably 1 out of 10 boxes is gradable if you're lucky. So the only cards that are out there that are gradable are the ones that are already graded or already kept in really good shape. The problem with those cards is they brick. So go Google or go YouTube search people opening up masterpiece boxes, and you'll see that they stick and the cards stick to each other and pieces of them peel off. So you can't just go out and buy 92 masterpiece boxes and rip them to grade because you're not getting tens. I think I talked to people in the Marvel, like when I was on Sketch Card Hives uh, episode with him, I asked him specifically about this, and he said like 1 out of 10 boxes is clean. So it's just so hard to find those cards in good condition. They are super condition sensitive to begin with because they're all dark bordered. Um, so the pop counts are going to be insanely low on those, and they get tons of respect in the Marvel community. I am not a fan of masterpieces because I don't like the artwork. It's a very personal thing. I prefer the comic book style artwork that you see out of like 90MU, whereas a lot of people really like the masterpiece artwork. It's not for me, it's artwork, it's to each their own. But it has a very big following behind it and very low population counts, and that is not going to change anytime soon. PayPal's your best bet. I don't have a problem with managed payments. I was annoyed with it at first. Um, but I don't really have a problem with managed payments. It's fine. Steelers defense does look legit. I worry about Roethlisberger staying upright for the entire season. Yeah, Cards and Comics gets it. Oh, Golden Age comics are great. I don't want to sell my house to buy one in a low grade. That's my only problem with Golden Age. That's why I focus so much on copper and bronze because the stuff's more affordable. And it's also what I collected as a kid. I think we see a potential Green Bay bounce back performance. Maybe we don't. I don't know, but that'll definitely be interesting to see what they end up doing from that perspective. Steelers do always have a good defense. As a Browns fan, I've been dealing with it for decades. Of certain players, yes, Merrick's Grave. I believe so. A lot of people, I think we've missed the window on, to be quite honest. Their wide receivers are loaded. They have a very good wide receiver core, and they have Harris. I just don't know that Roethlisberger is good enough anymore. Yeah, that 2013 Fleer Retro, it's impossible to find boxes. Those things are like unicorns. Do you think Marvel cards do better than comics going forward? No. I think comic books will always have the stronger market between the two. Here's the thing: Pop 6,000 really isn't that much, in my opinion. Like 6,000 is really not a ton in a 9.8. in my opinion. It's a lot, but it's not like compared to Zion base Prism at 7 or 20,000. You know what I mean? That was my whole reason for buying up like New Mutants 98 and stuff like that, is because the comic book market considered New Mutants 98 a high pop book. And I was looking as an outsider saying that's really not that many. So whether it holds or not, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But in general, I think comics have way more appeal long term. Different market too. Different people. There's plenty of people that collect comics that don't touch the cards and vice versa. Doesn't matter. One of the biggest traps people fall into is assuming that because something is low pop means it has high value. Pop is balanced by demand. Always remember that. There are two sides to that coin. I believe about 9 months last I heard, Chris, on CGC turnaround time. When should we start selling NBA? When you make a number you feel good about on the card that you bought. I don't think there's a right time anymore. I think each individual player has its own cyclical up and down market. What was your approach to CDC grade for later comic books? I'm targeting a Doctor Strange from the 60s. I looked at mostly 80s and 90s stuff, early 80s to early 90s, and I was looking strictly at CGC 9/8s. For my giant size X-Men #1, I was looking at anything from a 5 to like a 7.5. I was not sold on a particular grade. I was more concerned about how it looked. But giant size X-Men #1 is like a super good play right now, in my opinion. It peaked, it pulled back. It seems like it's leveled off. And I think that book is a true blue chip long-term hold. I mean, just look at it from the sports card side. Zion PSA 10 has popped 20K. And that's 6,000. Is that just CGC 9/8 or is that 9/6 and 9/8? Like what's the census on just a 9/8? I have no 86 Fleer basketball. Maybe one day I would like to have a Jordan, even a low grade, just to say I have one, but it is not high on the priority list. I would personally, I would rather have a nice Hulk 181 than an 86 Fleer Jordan, to be honest. All right, we're just checking in on some IG DMs real quick. Do you own any original art? I do not. No original art. I have not watched any. I've seen some like pictures of singles, but I'm not a hockey guy. So yeah, then I don't consider that a 6K pop. A lot of people won't touch 9/6s in modern. I wouldn't. Like when I look at Wolverine 1, to me those 9/6s don't even exist. Because anything from the early 80s, early to mid 80s onwards, I only want 9/8, and a lot of people feel that way. So I'm not fretting 4K on a 9/6 pop or census, to use the correct term. I am planning on going to the Hartville show. If I do not go to Card Collector 2 trade night, I will be at the Hartville show and I will be at 101 on Saturday night for their trade night. I own no Star Wars cards. I'm a big Jaw guy. I really like Jaw. Ja to me is a very interesting preseason buy, in my opinion. I have some other one. I need to sit down and do um, a nice deep dive on NBA stuff. Football's kind of sidetracked me. I mean, 9.6s are fine, especially on super high end stuff like that. I don't consider Wolverine Limited Series #1 like a high end book, like an Invincible #1 or Walking Dead #1. So that's a slightly different comparison, I would say, cards and comics, if that makes sense. Charles, what is up? The Lord of PMGs, Mr. Charles. OBJ needs to get healthy. I'm frozen, as in me, or like Elsa. Someone was just saying his PSA 9 silver is like $100 right now. That's a screaming deal, in my opinion. I'm gonna look market movers. 1 second. Do some John Morant research here on the side screen. Just a second, please hold. Silva. Where are we at right now? PSA 9 silvers are $300. Who was saying the PSA 9 silvers were $100? And where are they $100 at? Unless you're talking raw. Yeah, PSA 9 silver jaw, $300. I don't know who was smoking what that they were $100. I didn't think that sounded right. Unless it was a non-prism. Hey man, sometimes you just gotta let it go. I always like the cold anyway. I do prefer cold over hot. Maybe. I don't want Mosaic Silver PSA 9s. Not my jam. That being said, Morant Silver PSA 9s at $300 seem reasonable enough. Let me blow that out a little bit. What were those at their peak? So December Silver PSA 9s were $1,000. Holy shoot. Sorry, I try not to. I would really like to swear on YouTube. I really would. I try not to because I know kids watch sometimes. This is one of the rare times the filter actually works in my brain. Wow, those were $1,000 card. Holy heck. What were they pre-spike? September last year, they were a $500 card. Bottomed out at 400 last September. Interesting. Interesting. I really want a Jaw Opticalo PSA 10. If anyone wants to sell a Jaw Opticalo PSA 10 at current market prices, slide into my DMs, as the kids like to say. I think PSA opens a regular service in the next 60 days. Depends on how hard they get hit on the new express pricing. Yeah, same question. Are we talking Elsa or OBJ when it comes to Frozen? Economy bulk, not till next year at best. Economy next year, bulk next summer. Hey, man, if you spend the money on the book, you might as well display it behind you so, I can look at it. I literally, Every time I get up from the desk for the last since I put it out, since I got it, I do like a little pause in front of it before I go upstairs and just admire it for like 3 seconds, and then head upstairs anytime I get up from the desk. Steve, why are you in chat and not on the stream? What the hell is happening right now? Yes, Jaw Opticolo. I would like to purchase a Jaw Opticolo at current comps, which I believe are like $650. Maybe 700. I don't remember the last time I looked at the last comp was 650. One may have sold since. What kind of slab case do I have? I do not have a slab case. I have I don't know how well you'll be able to see them. They're slab stands. I did a video on it about a month or two ago to hold the slabs. I don't have a custom giant size X-Men 1-1. I just put it on my X-Men 11-1. So I have giant size X-Men 1, ASM 252, an Uncanny X-Men 133 back there, all in CGC 9.8. We got a little Slave 1 action right there. And then I got my big ass D&D dragon right there, Ancient Red Dragon from the D&D miniatures line from like 2005. That thing was extremely expensive. We get that chilling back there, hiding in the background with his little flame coming out of his mouth. Really cool mini. Hard to say mini, but I had a Jaw Purple Optic PSA 10 as well. $750 now. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, for the trading cards, this Firebox. Firebox. Make sure this is sealed. Firebox. I believe their website is just firebox.com. Got my stickers on here, a little marketing. We got a little Baker Mayfield. Woke up feeling dangerous. Look at this. Got the My Slab sticker. And then over here, even though he's not on my live stream, but he's in my chat, I got the Flipping Steve sticker on the case. It's okay, though. I really like this. I've had this for almost a year now. I really enjoy it. Oh, speak of the devil and he shall. I really like this. I've had this for almost a year now. I really enjoy it. Oh, speak of the devil and he shall.
Where'd you steal that sticker from?
Some homeless guy gave it to me in Chicago.
Let me see. Let me turn you up on my headphones.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I said some homeless guy gave it to me in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. They're the only people that would take them.
Yeah. Yeah, homeless guy gave me that and a Baker RPA for a Portillo's sandwich and a day-old slice of deep dish.
Yeah. So you already know, because I hit you on IG, you got somebody lurking in your chat.
Yeah. I'll keep a strong eye on that.
It is what it is.
The finger is ready.
The craziness of YouTube, you know.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you run into one of those.
I am actually pretty caught up on chat. Boba Fett ship legendary. I agree.
No, you were talking about the Ja Morant Optic Hollow. I picked one up for $700, but now I think they're going at $750.
Yeah, someone just said one sold at $750. So what? Do you have any hot NFL takes after week one? It seemed like the market did what we thought it was going to do. Shockingly enough, the guys that played good went up in price, and the guys that didn't went down in price.
Yeah, there's a couple that I don't understand. Russell Wilson going up, I don't understand that. Matt Stafford, if he went up, I don't understand that. Just because, surprise, these guys had 300 plus yards and 3+ touchdowns, but it's not like it's something we're not used to seeing them do. Now, quarterbacks that we're still waiting to see prove themselves, like
Hurts.
Like Hurts and even Kyler Murray to an extent. That's not so much of a surprise to see them get bumps in their prices due to performance. But guys that have performed for the last, 8 to 10 years, like Wilson and Stafford, I mean, these guys have performed, whether they won, and Wilson's been a winner. Stafford has, struggled a little bit on the winning side of things, but as far as knowing whether or not he was already a good quarterback, that's why it surprised me at price run-ups on those guys.
I think some people just need the reassurance of seeing it. Like, really, I think it really comes down to that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and
I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I just think that, I don't know. It's kind of like people just forget about some of these guys, and then all of a sudden they go off and they're like, oh, yeah, that's right. That guy is really good. I should go buy some of his stuff. You get caught up in the hype.
yeah, I mean, I understand Stafford's on a different team, but unless you truly believe that this is his time to win a Super Bowl, then again, you're buying somebody that's been in the league since what 2009, and basically you know what you're going to get from a statistical output.
I think Wilson, part of it was, I talked about this right before the season started. Like, if you looked at his prices compared to the other guys, his stuff just seemed cheap. You know what I mean? Like, he felt underpriced to me when you compared his prices to other guys, when you consider what he's already done and the potential for that team this year.
Wilson, correct?
Yeah,
Or,
Wilson.
Yeah. Wilson's always been kind of underappreciated in the hobby. So again, already being underappreciated and seeing a bump is one thing, but I don't know. I guess with Kevin Durant, with there not being many eyes on basketball, and then the only players that had eyes on him this summer were the guys on the Olympic team, and then Kevin Durant, you know, standing out head and shoulders above the rest of those Olympic players. People actually were like, okay, yeah, Kevin Durant is really good. We forgot about this. And you saw a bump in his prices. I guess that kind of how you could relate it to Russell Wilson, where they're both guys.
Same with Luka. I mean,
Yeah.
Luka had those couple big games and his prices went nuts.
Yeah. But
Do you think so? Like, okay, the NFL market didn't get a run up the last 60 days in general, speaking kind of broadly here.
Right.
Do you think the NBA stuff follows suit? I mean, I know some stuff's already seen bumps, but do you think it gets wild and crazy? Or do you think it's more slow and steady like football did? Or do you think NBA is a different animal?
Okay, so
Because we're a month away.
yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be yes, 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 and no, no, no. I guess yes. You could answer the question, all three questions or whatever, with a yes or a no, because I think it's going to be very player dependent. Do I think everyone is going to see a huge rise in their prices building up to the NBA like last year? No, I think it'll be a select few, maybe eight players. Do I think everyone will see crazy bumps based on a big preseason game like we saw last year, like a Jalen Noel or something, a guy who gets to play in the preseason, but he doesn't get to play much in the regular season? Will we see stuff like that? Or, you know, I don't think that we will. Will we see a run up on certain players that people, you know, have the fear of, you know, might establish a fear of missing out on? I think we will, but that'll be the guys that are already established as, I don't want to say super safe, but kind of safe type players. We talk about Tatum all the time. To me, Tatum is a safe bet. You know, he's shown that he's probably only going to get better, barring catastrophic injury or something like that. He's pretty much shown that he's only going to get better. I believe he's the type of player that, and this could have been what has already, because he's already seen an increase in price, and maybe a fear of missing out on Tatum cards is what maybe that was. Now, when we talk about hype, I believe hype is the whole thing. You have preseason hype, but I believe that when you say something is performance-based, that's hype as well. Because if somebody goes out and has a good performance, now they've generated a buzz or a hype that, okay, now they're going to come out next week and have another great performance. So the word hype can be used, or buzz can be used, you know, relative to what you're talking about, whether it's postseason, whether it's performance, or any, you know, whatever the buzz is generated by.
No, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. I'll be curious to see too, like, you know, what player comes out smoking that first week of the season, and like how crazy is their stuff going to get? Like, if Morant comes out and is just like 30 one night, 35 night 2, 40 game 3, and like a 30-point night to like close out the week, like I could see his stuff going crazy. Or like someone that like people are forgetting about, like a Cam Reddish comes out, you know, like a post-hype sleeper type of guy, or KPJ. You know, people were talking about Wall earlier about potentially getting bought out. You know, if KPJ is starting and he drops 45 in like night one on NBA TV2 or some nonsense. Like, guys like that,
Well,
I could see having huge runs.
there's the select few that people are waiting on. You call them the hobby darlings. I mean, that's a really good term to use. They almost have their own individual cult type following, where they're the types of players that generate buzz rather because of it's their personality, or they've put up 50 in a game once, but they're very inconsistent. But they generate some sort of buzz. People have been drawn to them, and now it doesn't take a whole lot, for them to explode. KPJ is one of those guys.
KPJ is the poster child of that.
Kelvin Johnson's big time. Kelvin Johnson's on that bus.
Bull.
Bull's on that bus. Just a lot of guys.
Reddish, Hunter.
The guys that people regularly bring up in chat that aren't already established stars. The reason people are bringing them up is because they're people that the hobby like. That's why people ask a lot of questions about them. And then when they have that big game, at least temporarily, very quickly, there's a window that if you're already sitting on them to move them. But they're not always necessarily the types of guys that I like to really hang on to.
Yeah, you don't want to have the stack of KPJ sitting in your case all off season, but boy, is it nice when you do, when he throws out a 45-point banger.
Michael Porter Jr. can kind of fit the bill for that, although I believe...
I put him like a little above those guys.
Yeah,
like he's like slightly more established.
Yes.
But he does have a lot of buzz. Like, the hobby loves Michael Porter Jr. It must be guys with initials, because the hobby loves SGA, they love KPJ, they love SGA, they love Nikhil Alexander-Walker, which a lot of people call Nah. Like,
I've always said there's a lot in the name.
3 letters.
I've always said there's a lot in a name. Like, a name can make you very marketable. It can make you sound popular. Zion is Zion. I mean, that's a cool last name. It's not a name you hear every day. If his name was John Williamson, would he be as exciting as a Zion Williamson? It just doesn't. It just doesn't seem so. Ja Moran. I mean, think about these guys are going by. We call him Ja. We don't call him Ja Morant. We call him Ja. But if his name was Jimmy, we'd have to call him Jimmy Morant. You know what I mean? So, just like Luka is Luka. There's probably lots of people that watch basketball that don't even know his last name. Unless they're really into it. But they've heard of Luka, but they don't know who Luka Doncic is. And then even like Tyler Hero, I mean, it's just a catchy name. It's just marketable. And I'm not saying that he's a great player, but who doesn't want to have a guy with the name Tyler Hero in their commercials? He sounds like a comic book character. Yeah,
no, for sure. I get that. But yeah, the NBA market has definitely already seen run up. I mean, you've been talking about it a lot. Like your Tatum and Mitchell stuff's already up. Luka stuff already got a bump post Olympics. Trae Young stuff got a little bit of a bump with the Olympics, and I actually just saw on my Sunday video that his silvers went up again. Trae Young's, the 17, 16, 18 mosaic that we talk about all the time seems to be getting a lot of love lately as well with key players. But there's also still a lot of guys that I don't think have gotten movement. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah, and MPJ has seen some recently as well. And like you said, he kind of sits in between that that group of people that you're waiting to break out and that group of people who have had their breakout. Tatum has had his, Mitchell has kind of had his, Trae has had his. And then you got the guys that we talked about that everybody's just waiting on, chomping at the bit. And then you have the guys in the middle where MPJ kind of falls, where we've seen what he can do, but we want to see more of it. So it's kind of like people are just right there waiting for him to get kicked up into the next bracket of players.
Yeah, there's another, and Doug Silverman mentions it here. I think there's another class of players, of guys that are legit good and have proven themselves, but are stuck on crappy teams.
Yep.
Cat is one. Like, Cat's a monster, but he's just stuck on the Timberwolves, so he gets no respect.
If he was traded to a team like Dallas, his cards instantly triple or quadruple in price overnight.
Yeah, I would put De'Aaron Fox in that category. The dude is legit good.
Oh, he's
and
top
just
5
stuck on a terrible
year,
team.
I believe. Wasn't he a top 5? He averaged over 25 points last season. I mean, he's a legitimate player, just stuck in Sacramento.
Yeah, if he got moved to a legitimate team, his stuff would go insane. I'm trying to think. There's probably other guys I'm forgetting of. Those two always jump to the top of my mind.
Yeah,
of guys in like that tier that like are super established NBA All-Star level players, And if they would get moved, their stuff. Bradley Beal would probably be another one that I would
Oh,
lump in there.
for
If he
sure.
got on a playoff contender, and like I mean, they made the playoffs last year to be fair, but like if he got on a legit team, I think his stuff would go crazy too.
Yeah, you could categorize someone, and I know you're not big on this guy too much, but a Colin Sexton type guy, we know he can score points. I mean, just a given. The guy is a scorer. Is he a complete basketball player? Not right now, but he's a scorer. If he was to move to a team, it would probably work out good for two players. It would work out good for him, and it would work out good for Darius Garland, with both of them being in that backcourt. They're both two players that I like, and I own cards of. But I think that as long as they're playing together, one of them is going to suffer from the other one's production.
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell's a weird one because he gets the respect, but he does not get the hobby respect for whatever reason.
I think that has a lot to do with him being in Utah.
Talented.
I just think it's the market. The Jazz seem boring to a lot of people, even throughout history. I mean, I grew up being a Malone and Stockton fan, and the pick and roll and stuff. They were just always an old school type team that played old school type basketball, and they still kind of do. Now he's a new school player because he shoots the three. So we'll see. And I think also with Donovan Mitchell, it's another show me another MVP caliber type season before people really blow up on his stuff. Because he did have the one last year. But before that, he had a really good playoffs, but he was inconsistent throughout the season. But then really blew up, kind of like Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray had the great playoffs, in the bubble. Not this past season, but the season before. He had the great playoffs. But then even when he came out this season, he wasn't the player that he was in the playoffs, even before his injury. He wasn't that guy that was going out and getting 30 plus a night and making crazy type shots and baskets and things. He seemed like a different monster in the playoffs. I think that's John Morant to me seems like a different monster in the playoffs. If he could play in the playoffs, I mean, consistently throughout the regular season, because let's see, Ja rates out as a 19 points per game type guy. So that's a good basketball player, especially when you got the assists and everything else that he does. But if he can get himself up to a 23 to 24 point a night guy, then he becomes really, really legit.
I would love to know what Ja's cards would have done last year if he would not have turned his ankle, because he came out like gangbusters. He was tearing it up the first 2 weeks of the season. He had that nasty ankle injury, and I don't think he was the same until the playoffs. Because there was a point last year, right after Christmas, where Ja's PSA 10 Prism passed Zion's for like a 2-day period, and then literally he got hurt like the next game. I would love to have seen the what if season of if he didn't get that ankle sprain and play that entire year healthy, because I really think that year messed him up. I don't think he was the same even when he came back. And I'm very curious to see what he looks like out of the gates this year.
Yeah, and I think with Ja, it's also a little bit of the people love the underdog. Now I know that he's not really the underdog. People are saying he's either the best or second best or the best from that class so far. I mean, after Zion had an outstanding season, it's hard to argue that. But coming into the draft, he was the underdog. He wasn't Zion. He didn't go to Duke. What was he? Murray State. I think he was Murray State. He carried them in the tournament. Not much but himself. Not like Duke with RJ Barrett and, the guys. And even though he was the second pick of the draft and arguably and rookie of the year and all that, it was still an underdog story in comparison to the hype that surrounded Zion coming in. This was that 2019 season was supposed to be Zion's season, first pick of the draft, the next generational talent, and then this guy John Morant busts on the scene and kind of steals the thunder a little bit. And I believe that is what had a lot to do with his build. Well, not even his build. Last year's big build was Trae Young. The build leading into the season was Trae Young. But then after the first couple games into the season, when Ja comes out and puts up 40, I think opening night, now people are like, okay, this underdog that we were cheering for last year puts up 40 plus on night one. This guy's legit. And then his cards, it was like a rocket ship.
You have any hot takes on RJ Barrett? I've never been a big RJ Barrett guy.
The only time I've ever really actually discussed RJ Barrett was when I was doing my short series of flip, grip, or skip. And for me, RJ Barrett was always a skip. And it had a lot to do with his price point coming in. For me, it had nothing to do with his talent or maybe his future talent. It always had to do with my entry level for RJ Barrett is more than what I want to pay at the time, you know. I think, I mean, he's in New York. He's got a good market, but Julius Randle kind of took that team over last year. Barrett's shooting was really inconsistent. They brought in Derrick Rose, I think, this year.
Mm-hmm.
As
Kemba
well
Walker.
as, yeah, I was going to say as well as someone else in the backcourt. So to
Kemba.
me, do they move? Does that say, okay, RJ Barrett's not our shooting guard? He is.
Well, he's
now,
more of a three than the shooting guard.
Yeah, I'm saying now is he moved to our small forward? But you know, playing the three, I mean, where does that put Julius Randle at? It's like
He's a 4. Randall's a 4.
Yeah, but I just feel like if the team themselves were really, really high on RJ Barrett, they wouldn't have brought in 2 people into their backcourt. Now maybe it's to be mentors or something like that, but
yeah, I've never been a big RJ guy either. I remember he was one of my like number 1 sells before the season started last year, and I caught a lot of flack for it. And he did not perform well last year. He picked up as the season went on, but he had a rocky start, especially compared to like Ja or Zion, who came out of the gates kind of on fire.
You just want to see a little bit more consistency. I feel like with RJ Barrett, the nights that he scored lots of points were the nights that he took lots of shots. You know, if you're taking lots of shots and you're only shooting 35% from the field, you're more, even though your end line stat line for points per game might be all right, it's kind of hurting your team. It's hard to say what I think he'll be going forward. I haven't bought a single RJ Barrett card in the offseason. If that, I guess that's enough to tell you where I stand as far as I'm just not willing to come in at his price point. I'll buy anybody at the right price because it's worth a gamble. I use this card as an example, the Jaren Jackson Jr. Blue Mosaic. Like, I'm not really big on Jaren Jackson Jr., but for the price I was able to get this card at, I'm willing to take the gamble on it. At the price that I can get RJ Barrett at, am I willing to take the gamble is what I ask myself. There's just other players I would rather gamble on because you can't gamble on everybody.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I dislike him or think he's going to be trash. That's not what that means. That just means that there's probably 3 or 4 other players I would rather put my money because I don't have unlimited funds.
Yeah, that's the thing. If we could buy every guy that we wanted, it's a whole different story. But to buy one guy, you are costing yourself making a play on something else. And I personally usually have a very narrow window of players that I'm looking at, and I like to stay, with inside that 6 to 8 guys with maybe like, really focused in on like Luka, Trey, Tatum, or something like that, with a little bit of Ja mixed in, and then some stuff on the sides. But I typically have a very narrow window of players that I'm looking at, and it probably costs me some plays because I get a little too focused in on those guys and probably miss some stuff.
Yep.
But in general, I like to run more that way than kind of like scattered shot, trying to get a little piece of everything.
And that's going to be the thing. I mean, when you invest, like me, like you said, I take 6 to 8 players, and I will only venture out of those 6 to 8 players if I find a card that I feel like, okay, this is pretty much a no-brainer for the price. And it might be a player that I'm not high on at all, but I understand that not everybody likes the same players, which means there is somebody out there that likes Jaren Jackson Jr. that would like this card. You know what I mean? So even though I don't necessarily invest in him, doesn't mean there's others that don't believe in him. But where was I headed with this? I'll pick it back up in a minute. I had a point I wanted to make, and my dog started barking, and it kind of distracted me.
Yeah, for me, it's like, would I rather go spend, I don't know, like $400 on some RJ Barrett, or just take that 400 with another 400 and go buy like an optic hollow Luka 9 or something like that? I'd rather just have the Luka optic hollow 9. And I like to focus in on players that I know have high liquidity. Like, I could walk into any trade night or show, and people are always going to be looking for Luka and Trey and Tatum and Ja. You know what I mean? Like, any table is going to be at least mildly interested in those players, whereas an RJ Barrett maybe less so. Like I like Jaylen Brown a lot. I have like one or two Jaylen Brown cards, but he's not like a name you hear people like begging for at trade nights. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean
It
that could change in a heartbeat if he comes out like crazy. But
yeah. I guess what I was trying to say earlier, because we were talking about, you just can't buy everybody, and I just boil it down to you're going to buy what you buy, you're going to hit some, you're going to or you're going to win on some, you're going to lose on some. Anybody who says they never lose on a card is full of shit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss on your last stream, but
you're fine.
But you're 100%, you're going to miss. And what I mean by miss is there's just going to be a player that you don't buy at all that makes someone a lot of money. So you're going to make your selections. Some of your selections are going to be good. Some are going to be bad. You hope that you have more wins than you do losses. And then there's just going to be some misses. And when you miss, you just got to be disciplined enough not to chase.
Yeah, and you're gonna miss in regards to that you're just gonna pick bad player. You're just gonna get things wrong sometimes.
But yeah, that's what I chalk up as a loss. You're gonna have wins, losses, and then misses is just somebody that's completely off your radar.
Yes, both for sure. I was trying to. Sorry, I was just checking something on the back end there. I'm excited for basketball to get started. I really am. Football's been fun, and I love football. Don't get me wrong. But NBA is my jam, and I'm just very curious to see what that market does once the season gets rolling. Like, especially after the way the NFL market's reacted 48 hours into the season. It's just kind of, I don't want to say it's gone completely off the rails, but it's definitely anyone that thought the card market was dying. I think we can firmly put that out of people's minds. Like, it's shown that it's not dead.
That's what I was going to say. It was nice to see because, we talked about the lack of run-up coming in. There was an early run-up, draft run-up. There was even a pre-draft run-up. I want to talk around February or so. There was a pre-draft run-up. There was a draft night, draft week / run-up. Or small free agency run-up. That stuff's natural. That stuff happens. But there wasn't a month headed into the season run-up. And so a lot of people were wondering, is it the NFL market itself? Is it the card market as a whole? Are people losing interest? What is it? And then, boom, the day of people going off, people are buying cards off eBay as fast as they can before people can relist them at new prices. So it's definitely still alive and strong. People are just being a little bit smarter, and that's good. That's expected. That's what it should be.
Yeah, it was really fun on Sunday. I was watching football, had the fantasy scores up, Twitter up, whatever, red zone going. And like every time Kyler would like bomb another ball to Hopkins for a touchdown, I'd like flip over to eBay really quick and just do like a quick. I just had like Kyler Murray PSA 10 sold listings that I would just hit refresh on the page, sorted by newest. And it was just kind of crazy to watch him like, another 5 just sold like in between those 2 touchdown passes.
So I was watching
than before.
I was watching his optic hollow. I'm big on optic hollows in both sports, but I was watching the 19 optic hollow Kyler Murray at a buy it now for $8.99. And I was like, that seems reasonable. When you look at Zion, I said it's a little bit more expensive than a Ja Morant. I was like, what do I want to do? And I was like, I had it, and I was like, should I buy this? Should I buy this? This was after the 5 touchdowns. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, and I said this on my live stream, like this goes against everything that I preach to myself. I don't necessarily preach to everybody else, but everything that I tell myself, I was like, get out of your football, get into your basketball, don't chase when these guys get hot. And I was about to click buy on this, and I'm like, this is everything that I preach against. I said, I'm caught up in it myself, just like everybody else. This is what it feels like. And you know what I did? Instead of taking that $900 and buying that Kyler Murray, I took $700 and bought a Ja Morant optic hollow.
So funny you say that. I almost did the same thing with a Kyler Murray PSA 10 red ice.
I was looking at the red ice too. I was looking at the red ice.
On my slabs. There was 2 listed, one for like $11.50 and one for $12.50.
Yeah, I was going to say they're right around that $1,200 mark.
Yeah, I was looking at that $11.51 all at like halftime of the 1:00 games, and I'm like, man, this is a sexy looking card. And I'm like, this is the worst time to buy this. What are you doing? And I legit had it open, and I was putting in not low ball offers in on it, but like offers but it kept saying like you have not reached the seller's minimum or
I haven't reached
whatever.
the seller's minimum.
Yeah, I was like, I threw like 800, and I'm like, no, you can't do this. And then it was like not accepted. I was like, oh, perfect. And then I'd be like 850, like 10 minutes later, and it would say not accepted. And then like 10 minutes later, I went back to it, and then it was gone. Someone bought it outright.
Yeah, it was gone. But
And then
that's
a little
fine,
bit
yeah.
later, someone bought the 1250 one later that afternoon outright.
I just
And
had
now
to draw.
the cheapest one on there is
you
like
know,
$1,500.
I just had to rewind, and I had to be like, okay, 900 for a Kyler or 700 for the exact same card of John Morant. The Kyler, we were already seeing the rise in the Kyler. He had the big game. Where does more potential? Where do I have a bigger ceiling? In comparison to my buy-in, I'm coming in $200 less on the Morant. Even if that Kyler Murray goes up to, a $1,200 card, and I'm in on it at 900. Now that's a $300 gainer. Where if I come in at 700 on John Morant, I'm in for $200 less. It doesn't have to increase as much. I take less of a loss if it doesn't work out. And I just think that there's more of a ceiling with the basketball season, Weighing, what are we, a month out?
Less than a month.
Less than a month out?
Yeah, mid-October. Training camp will open in 2 weeks. So you're going to start seeing preseason games. So get ready, get your Taylor Horton Tuckers ready.
Yeah, right. That's the thing that I think is when I was talking about guys earlier. I don't know how much there's going to be the reaction, especially the star stock reactions you were going to see last year, where both of us made a killing off Isaiah Roby. It's like,
yeah,
I think those days have come and gone, but still guys that people expect to do well that may actually do better than expected. Like Kyler Murray, he wasn't expected to do bad. I mean, he's the third ranked fantasy football quarterback, prior to the season starting. So those fantasy rankings are not telling me that people are projecting him to have a bad season. But were they expecting 5 touchdowns on day one? It's kind of like John Morant, Zion, Jason Tatum. It's like we aren't expecting these guys to have bad seasons. But if they come out and they blow up right off the bat, we're going to be like, okay, yep. They're definitely ready to go.
I'm curious to see. So say week 2 follows the week 1 pattern, and guys play good again. Maybe Kyler has another good game and his stuff goes even more crazy. I'm wondering if we start to see an NBA run up because of the confidence people are seeing in the football market. To your point earlier, the NFL market didn't have a big run up. So I do think a lot of people were kind of like, not is the party over, but like, is the sports card market more quiet / back to normal, not crazy town anymore? And I don't think it's like pure crazy town, but people are going to start seeing if these NFL prices keep spiking in these early weeks. I wonder if people are like, I need to get in NBA before this same thing happens at NBA. I got 2 weeks to do it. You know what I mean? I got 3 weeks to do it. Let me run out and get some Luka right now before these NBA games kick off.
People are going to find their player that they compare to an NFL player. With me, I kind of compare Josh Allen to Luka. Guys who have been on the brink of MVP status, guys who have carried their team, had great seasons, but haven't got over the hump for a championship or anything. Their cards have everything that I just talked about baked into them, but there's for them to get over the hump, they also need to get over that championship hump as a player for their cards to get over that hump to the next level. So I always, and I'm sure other people do that too. So I try to think, who is this guy's football equivalent? Earlier, we were talking, like I talked about John Morant and Kyler Murray, and someone else said that was actually a good comparison. So I look at it like that. Who are people going to be scared that they're going to miss out on because maybe they missed out on Kyler Murray? Maybe they're like, damn, I didn't buy Kyler Murray's. His cards blew up after week 1. Who is my Kyler Murray equivalent? Because whoever that is, that's who I need to buy before the season starts.
Yeah. And I also, tomorrow, I talked about this earlier. You probably missed it because you were working or on your own live stream, which was funny. Someone's like, Steve's talking about you right now on his own live stream while you're talking about him, because I was talking about our fantasy football game.
Oh, yeah, you beat me this week.
That's when I popped on your live stream and commented real quick.
Yeah.
I think, so tomorrow's video, I did a football video, and I think we've talked about this before. I think if Josh Allen, a lot of his nice stuff came down 20% already.
Oh, did it
If
really?
he has another dud week
Oh,
where
he
they
will. He plays
lose,
the Dolphins. Dolphins going to tear that up.
if they have enough, like I think there's going to be some crazy buying opportunities in football, like within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like these guys, like Allen, if he struggles again, give me Allen at a 30 to 40% discount. I
Oh,
mentioned Burrow. Like to me, the Bengals are shaky. I like Burrow as a player. I don't like him at current prices because I don't like the Bengals team, like as a football team. But if he struggles or the team struggles and his stuff keeps dipping, I think buying Burrow and then just sitting on it until like March is an easy play if his stuff keeps going down. But I think there's going to be other opportunities like that with quarterbacks of these trendy guys that struggle with them bottoming out here in a couple weeks before they start going back up again.
yeah. I talked about probably my football buying time isn't very far away. Like I've been basketball real early. Probably not as early as some, but July we were at the National. I was like, okay, it's basketball time for me. Um, and for football time will probably be right around the time basketball season starts. Right about end of October, early November, I'll probably be looking for these young quarterbacks who are, 4 or 5 weeks into the season and their team isn't doing what it should be. Maybe they're sitting at 2-4, 3-3, and people are down on them and their stuff is down. And that'll be the time. And plus money shifting markets, into basketball. And that'll be the time again that I'm looking to probably move out of my basketball and back into football.
Trigger Finger pops in here. He only pops in when you're on. Would you rather have a Mitchell Blue Prism to 199 or a Fast Break to 175? I would rather have the true blue because Fast Break usually gets a little disrespect compared to like the true parallel. And to me, the extra 24 doesn't make that big of a difference.
Yeah, I would rather have the blue. For some reason, like you said, the disco slash fast break doesn't draw, even though in some cases it's more rare. For instance, okay, going back to last football season before the Deshaun Watson debacle, I had Deshaun Watson silver prisms. I was buying them really, really cheap way back. And one that I bought was a fast break slash disco, whatever you want to call it. Now, it wasn't serial numbered, but technically it's a parallel. And the silver prism is not a parallel from 2017. I know it's shiny, and I know if you're not super familiar with the market, but that you don't know that that's a base card, but that's the base card. The 2017 Prism Mahomes, that's a base card, even though it's a silver prism. So the Deshaun Watson silver prism's a base card. I had one disco prism. When I sold all of those, I got like 70% the value on the disco than I got on all the rest of them. All the rest of them were easy sells. At least at decent buy it nows at around the $750 mark. And I put the disco at auction and got like $500 for it. And I was surprised at the time. I was newly kind of back into the flipping aspect of the cards. Because like, again, this dates all the way back to March of 2020 when I was buying these. This is when Deshaun Watson prisms were like $125 a piece. So it was one of my first good flips. But yeah, the disco was just seemed to not, surprisingly to me, even though it was a parallel, everybody wanted that silver prism base card over the disco slash fast break prism. Disco,
Yeah,
I
like
think it's called in football.
I always looked at the Luca Disco slash Fast Break optic compared to the optic hollow, and the pop count's way lower. And in my opinion, it's a better looking card, but it doesn't matter. Like the market doesn't view it that way. So chat drives my live streams, not me. So chat takes me all over the place.
I had a Jason Tatum optic fast break hollow that was numbered. I think it was it might have been 193, numbered out of 193. It was a weird serial number, but it was a purple fast break hollow that I sold last season. And I had a harder time selling it than I had selling regular optic hollows for about the same price. And this card was, it was like a hybrid. So it was a purple plus fast break. So it was a hybrid parallel serial numbered. But once you get so many parallels out there, it's kind of like certain people like certain ones and certain people don't like other ones. You kind of limit your demographic as opposed to the basic hollow prism, which is a refractor, people go to. I'll probably have the same issue this year with the Donovan Mitchells. I have the optic hollows, like just the regular hollow, and I have the purples. Now, it is a bit of a color match for him, but the purples are probably more rare, but this will probably sell easier for more money
sure.
than this will,
For sure. I wouldn't doubt that at all. I think, which I know you're not a baseball guy, I think it's going to be an interesting time to be picking up baseball around the same time.
There's 3 or 4 players. I actually got some on my watch list right now. I actually have some baseball on my
look at you.
On my Slabs track list. There's actually some players that I like.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Sneaking in there a little bit. Yeah, I talked about like the Soto Pink Refractor is on my radar if that dips at all in the offseason. I think that card's extremely undervalued, even at current prices. I think that card's too cheap. I talked about this at the beginning of the live stream. I really wanted to buy Vlad and Bo Bichette on the dip, and then the Blue Jays decided to go on a massive tear the last 10 days.
Yeah, they got
completely messed that up.
And then Vlad hits number 44 and ties Shohei for the lead. It's like, okay.
A week and a half ago in a video, I was like, oh, this is perfect. The Blue Jays are going to miss the playoffs. I'm going to swoop in and get some Vladdy on the cheap at the beginning of the MLB playoffs, and then he decides to lose his mind at the plate. And now I think he's a legit MVP contender again. And they may make the playoffs, and they could be a threat. And I would not want to play the Blue Jays in the playoffs right now. There's
a little bit of baseball on the television in the casino tonight, and I don't watch a whole lot. And the Nationals happen to be on, and Soto was up. And he had a nice opposite field base hit. It was just like a single line drive. But I watched it as at bat. Man, his swing is so nice for a young player, as young as him. I had to go to the office and search my slabs and be like, okay, is there any Sotos on here? Because I was like,
the Soto Pink, man.
He's just, I think we've seen great seasons out of him, and I don't even think we've seen half of what this kid's going to end up being capable of.
And he already has a ring too, so you have that banked.
Yeah. And I don't even talk much baseball, but with just watching him swing the bat tonight, I was like, this is a good swing. I'm not going to compare it to Griffey, but I mean, he just has a good swing for somebody so young that you would think would be a lot of raw talent that still needs to be developed. I think he still has a lot of raw talent that needs to be developed, but I believe that he's already developed enough talent to be a superstar. Just imagine if he taps into his full potential.
And he gets on a team that's actually competitive.
Yeah, and they keep taking his good players away from him with Scherzer and Trey Turner now gone.
The extra juicy thing about him is, like, if you're strictly looking at, like, mainline cards, he just doesn't have a lot of stuff because of the way he released his refractor. His base refractor is numbered out of 250. So it goes for astronomical sums of money. It's not like you could just go buy a Soto Topps Chrome refractor. Like it's the price of a nice used car, like already. So the reason why I talk about the pinks all the time is because it's one of his only refractors from Topps Chrome Update that's like readily available. And the pop is like sub 700 on it.
Yeah.
And they're at like around $800 right now, and that was like almost a $3,000 card, I think, at one point in time when it was at its peak. I think I'll have to look to see where that's at. There's just not a lot of good. Like if you want Soto refractor style cards from Topps Chrome, your choices are so limited, and he doesn't. I think his first Bowman is only an auto. There's no first Bowman base. And that auto goes for astronomical sums of money, too.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So you just have a very funneled pool of cards for him to buy. Like if you want a non-Topps Chrome base or non-paper.
Yeah, and like, I'll be the first person to admit that as far as following the peaks and valleys, not just when stuff is up and when stuff is down in the baseball market, not even the general consensus of up or down, those two words. When it comes to putting numbers to it, I couldn't tell you the peak number for a Soto or the valley number for a Soto. All I know is that when I get a certain feeling in market changes, Um, I talked about this on a live drive. It's something I can't really explain. I just get a feeling in my gut about market changes. And I'm like, it's regardless of the price of something right now, I look at it as a time frame. I'm like, okay, it's not necessarily what the peak is on this or the valley is on this or what it's sitting at right now. To me, it's more like I think the time is right, regardless of what the price point is at, because I feel like a lot of times timing is more important. It can be the most important part of, whether you're successful on turning a card over.
So Soto peaked mid-February when pretty much all baseball peaked at 2,200 for his Topps Chrome pink refractor. And that's popped 646. So that is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. Like, that's not a big number, especially considering that he just doesn't have a ton of options for cards. Like, that makes that number even smaller than what it is, if that makes sense. But even before that, so like January of last year, it was a $1,250 card, and it got up to about $1,400 before it went crazy when the baseball market went nuts in mid-February. And you can get them now for around $800. I have two. I picked two up at the National.
Yeah, like I said, I've been completely in a bit of a hold because I've gone bullish on modern NBA. I did it. Everybody knows that I did it. I might win, I might lose. I don't care. It was actually fun just going bullish on modern NBA. And now I'm done kind of with that. I got enough stuff to sell. So now I'm starting to look into baseball. I know I'm going to dabble in the football.
And the Soto may get cheaper, like he's not making the playoffs. So in mid-October, that card could dip more. The only thing with a pop that low, I think a lot of people just won't sell. That's the problem I had trying to find one before the National. They were comping for around 800, and I couldn't find anyone willing to sell it at comps.
Right. Yeah.
And then at the National, someone had two of them, and I made that trade. I traded the Vlad Sapphire BGS 9.5 and a little bit of cash for two Sotos.
Yeah, so. And I'm going to the show Saturday in Raleigh, and that's another reason I haven't been buying, because I like to buy in person. It wouldn't be surprising to myself if I came out of there with a handful of baseball cards. And normally that wouldn't be the case. Normally, a lot of times I walk right by baseball showcases. Now, it's nothing against baseball or anything. It just hasn't been my thing. And I know a lot of people swear by baseball, but it's what started it all. But a lot of times when I walk by big showcases, especially of high-end baseball, these Bowman first autos and stuff, different colors, rainbows and things like that, I tend to walk by that stuff. First of all, I don't know enough about it. A lot of times I look at the prices and I'm intimidated by it. And I buy them.
It's not cheap. Those first Bowman autos are astronomical.
And I buy some cards more expensive than the cards I see in those cases. But the fact that I'm not up to date on my research on that stuff, I just get intimidated by some of the prices because I wouldn't know a good buy if I saw it. But if I come out with a couple high-end baseball cards from this Saturday's show, I definitely wouldn't be surprised. And definitely from the Philly show, I wouldn't be surprised, because then the Philly show is going to be the end of September. By then I look for baseball to even be winding down even more for some of these players.
So Soto's Bowman Chrome base auto, and he has no first Bowman. His first Bowman is an auto, and a PSA 10 is $6K, $5,500 right now. It peaked at $12,000. His refractor, which is numbered out of 499, is pop 36 in a PSA 10, is $9K, and that peaked at just under $20,000.
Well, see, and the thing is do you believe that these cards will see preseason / spring training type run-ups on a yearly basis?
I don't think getting that high is realistic.
Oh, yeah, that high. A lot of peaks that we saw this year we'll never see again. But, I agree. You said that card is at what right now? The first Bowman?
Refractor or the base?
Either one, I guess. I guess the high end.
5,600. The refractor is at $9K. The base has a pop of a little over 200.
Is that, and that's the auto?
Yeah, there's not. So
the Bowman auto base is at 5,600.
Yes.
at the moment. What was it at? Like I guess in April or March or like a lead up to the season.
Give me 1 second. Let me clear this up a little bit. Um, April 19th, it was 8K. That was
8K.
after it peaked. The high sale was March 25th at 12.8K.
So
And
you're looking
then
at it. You're looking at a 50, about a little bit more than a 50% decrease. So if you're looking at buying that now at 50% of its peak, can you at least see it coming back to, 25% more to where it was at? Can it be 75% of its peak? So if it was once 12,000, can you see it again at like 85 or 8,000?
so
If
last
so,
summer, so July of 2020, it was a 3K card. So that was
okay.
before multiple price spikes
So it
of,
has established a new floor too.
yeah, because so it
Okay.
went up after that in October last year to around 7K. It came back down to 4 to 5K around Christmas. And then when baseball went nuts, so like on December 8th, it was 5K. On December 30th, it was 6K. On February 2nd, it was 10K. And then it keeps
Okay.
going from there, and then it pulls back again. And it looks like the new floor was just under 5K. There's multiple sales at like 4,800, and then one hasn't sold for a while. There was it went from early July to early September. It went almost 2 months before one sold, and it went from 5K to 5.7K.
Okay. So it has seen
And
another
they've been
little small
irrelevant the
charge.
second half of the season because they traded everybody.
Yeah.
The real play, in my opinion, and I know that this gets more respect in baseball, the BGS 9.5 for 2.5K. I don't know if that was a true gem or a min gem, but that Soto prospect auto for 2.5K and a BGS 9.5, to me, if that's a true gem, seems real appealing.
Oh, yeah. The Bowman baseball autos in BGS labs on 9.5s and auto 10s, those are actually what you see a majority of in these showcases. Those cards are highly respectable.
But that's 60%. The PSA, the most current PSA comp on 9.6 is 5.6K. The most recent BGS comp is 2.5K just 2 days ago.
Oh, when people talk about slab, and I just assumed you were talking about the BGS to begin with, because when
No,
people
that's
talk
PSA
about
10. That 5.6K price
oh,
is
okay,
PSA 10.
when people talk about slab to Bowman first, the first thing that I see is the two gold BGS labels, 9, 5, and 10 next to each other. For some reason, because when you're looking at this stuff in showcases and all, that's what you see a majority of.
They used to be much closer together.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
man,
interesting. Because if I was going to buy, I'd be buying in BGS anyway. That's what I thought we were already referencing.
No, we were talking about PSA 10 pricing.
Oh, that sounds even better. That sounds even better.
Yeah, man.
I could
His
get two BGS
refractor,
9.5 for the price of one PSA 10 all day long.
his refractor PSA 10 June 2020 was 3K, and that card got to $20,000 in March. Oh man, holy smokes! But that's pretty low pop. That's another one. The BGS 9.5, the PSA 10 of his refractor out of 499 is 9K. The BGS 9.5 is 5.1. I might actually look at a Soto first Bowman auto in a base. You could get one for around 2.5K. That feels pretty good. Because that's one I feel like you could just put in the vault and forget about. Like he's already has the ring, like we talked about. He's supremely talented. Like that could be a monster card in 5 or 10 years if you're willing to just forget about it.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't even watch baseball a whole lot. He generates enough buzz too. Even in Washington, it's crazy because that's kind of a home team around here. Phillies, Orioles, Nationals, and it's
a lot of people are talking in chat. If he leaves the Nationals and like goes to a major market, that card would explode even more.
Yeah, it would. It would.
I'm gonna have
Definitely.
to seriously.
There's definitely potential around it because he's already small market. So there's potential around a market change. There's potential around him becoming, a multiple MVP, batting titles and things like that. I don't want to say the next Mike Trout, but in my opinion, if there is the next generational talent / Mike Trout, the closest thing, in my opinion, is Soto. There's going to be other people that other people argue for, whether it's Tatis or Acuna or Vladdy. I just think the most complete game is Soto, and Tatis is electric, but he's still. I think he'll always have injury concerns.
Well, that BGS 9.5 comp's going up. There's a Probstein that ends in an hour and 48
Probstein
minutes.
doesn't count.
I know. It's already at 2.6K, and that's a min gem. 9 edges, all 9.5s. Trigger makes a really good point. Soto's auto is super clean. Like, he signs his full name. He takes his time with it. It looks really good. Like, it's a really good looking auto. You sent me down a wormhole now on Soto BGS 9.5s. And I don't like it because it's not a cheap card.
I think I saw Green Lantern said something about don't all players leave small market at some point. Yeah. I thought
is Washington considered a small market though? I know in baseball they are, but in general,
yeah, kind
of weird.
Well, because what happened is the Orioles were the home team in that area, and then when they brought the Nationals back, they actually split like television. They split certain revenues that were generated in the areas and things, not just fan based revenues as far as jerseys and things like that. I'm talking about as far as how much, television deals and things like that. They were kind of like split between the two teams, where it almost felt like the Orioles lost half of their revenue to the Nationals. But it wasn't that the Nationals came in and took it with fan base. It was given to them like locally because the two teams were almost right on top of each other. And in Washington, over there, that's kind of tough to do. You can do that in LA, you can do that in New York. It's not really necessarily something you want to do in the Baltimore, DC area.
Yeah. I'm on a Soto rabbit hole now. This is not good.
The Trigger, Washington isn't a small market, but they have owners, but they don't have owners who like to spend. Well, Baltimore, that's Baltimore. Baltimore has owners that don't like to spend. Really, an owner can spend as much money on their team as they want. And if an owner is rich, it doesn't matter if the team is rich or not. Now, a lot of times an owner might be rich off of their team, but if you look at somebody back in the day like Atlanta with Ted Turner, he didn't need to make his millions off of the Braves. He was making his millions off of his television networks. And then he was broadcasting his own baseball team on his own television networks. So, if you're a billionaire and you want to buy all the best players in the Major League Baseball, then you can do that regardless of how much revenue your team generates.
What are you worried about Probstein auctions for now? Didn't you know eBay kicked all the shill bidders off?
Oh man, that's the rumor. Most of the time, rumors aren't true.
They're all gone. They fixed that problem. Yeah, PWCC got. If they kicked PWCC, they got rid of all of them, right? They wouldn't just target one company
they wouldn't
that happened to be launching a competitive selling platform.
Yeah, they would just be targeting
not
our competition.
The others.
Yeah. Let me get my aluminum foil hat out.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I could do? I could send my Soto Pinks to Investacard and get a loan. I'm sorry, a cash advance, and then use that money to go buy the Soto first Bowman auto. I can execute that play. Chad will love that one. Well, all these My Slabs Sotos are overpriced. I'm very disappointed in you, My Slabs people. Oh, Refractor PSA 9 for 4K. Interesting. Now I'm getting the giant size X-Men pricing. I need to close this tab. Get me back on track. I need a Hulk 181 in my life before Soto auto.
Come on, man. Where's that Hulk 181 at? You got the X-Men.
That's what I'm eyeing up next, man. A Hulk 181. That's my next big one. I really want a Hulk 181. M-Perk in the house. Don't pawn your Soto cards. What Do you have any thoughts? Someone we talked about Kyler earlier, but would you like on the whole buy, sell, hold game after week one? Would you just be taking your profits and run, or would you roll the dice?
I would sell. I sold Kyler's in Dallas. The last Kyler Murray card I owned, I sold at the Dallas show, the big Dallas show.
False.
Oh no, you're
National.
right. I traded one. I traded one. Yeah, I traded one to National, but the last one that I sold was at the big Dallas show, the one back in May. I mean, they're all the same size, but I mean, the one that was
the souped up one.
Yeah, and it came down. It came down significantly after I moved it, about $600 down. I see that card now. The same card. Okay, so the same card I bought for $1,200 a couple weeks before Dallas. I moved it in Dallas for $18, so I made $600 on it. That card then came back down to about $1,100, and I was like, man, should I get another one? But no. And now I'm looking at that card now after this week's performance, and it's back up between $1,800 to $2,000. So I'm like, even after that big performance on Sunday, that card is back up to where it was at in May.
Yeah,
so
I would. I talk a little bit about this tomorrow. I think Kyler is the perfect. You wish you bought multiples because you could sell a few off, and then I would like the risk of carrying a couple, but I would want to take my profits on a couple as well. So I think Kyler is the perfect. You wish you had 5 his cards and could sell 2 or 3 today, and then roll 1 or 2 forward and kind of roll the dice on them to see if they go super next level.
Mm-hmm. But the more you brought that Kyler up that I traded, the more and more that I think about it, the happier and happier I am that I made that Zion deal for that BGS 10, because I think I'm going to be able to move that card really, really nice, either early season or a week before the season or something. I'm looking at the spread on BGS 10 versus PSA 10, and I'm just like, that multiplier there is a lot bigger multiplier than I thought. And when I invested in that card, we had no idea what to put it at as far as a premium on a BGS 10 over a PSA 10. And I'm looking at recent sales of Zion cards, and I'm like, he has, and I think I mentioned this to you before, his BGS 10s, even on base prisms, are going for like 3 to 4 times the PSA 10. You can get a $400 base PSA 10 prism, or his BGS 10 is like, I think, pushing $1,500. It's at least $1,200, I believe, in a BGS 10. The exact same card with the high pop report on the PSA.
Hulk 181 and a 9.6. I don't want to have to sell my house to buy a Hulk 181. A 9.6 Hulk 181 is probably like 60, 70K. I bet. I don't know exactly what that would comp at. Actually, I might have GPA up. I was looking at them earlier. I do. Let's see what the last 9.6. Oh, it's not that high. I'm sorry. I'd have to sell my car, not my house. What did the last one do? 34,000 in a 9.6 for a 181.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, 36K. That's nothing. Shoot.
When do you think the next surge on the comic book market is coming to? I mean, there's good prices on the comic book market right now.
The second anything X-Men related drops, that stuff's going to go wild. But I'm once again on comics, I'm like cards. I focus in on a very narrow window. Mostly X-Men with a little bit of Spider-Man mixed in and a few other key Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That X-Men stuff got super hyped up at the beginning of the year because of all the Disney acquisition and stuff. And now it's all cooled way off and kind of leveled out at new floors like we see in the sports card world all the time, which is the reason why I pounced on my giant size X-Men one now. But the second we start getting any sorts of teases and trailers,
there just hasn't been much. Yeah,
because that stuff's pretty far out. Like X-Men are going to be a while, but like with the whole direction that the MCU's going and like what the Loki TV show set up and all that stuff, like you could see how they're going to get to the point that they'll be able to introduce X-Men in. You know how they're going to do it yet, but you could see like where they're headed and the way that they'll be able to bring them in and make it make sense. So I think we're getting closer and closer to that point.
And it's very similar to the card market, where there's hype driven stuff and speculation and things like that really drive the value of a comic book. And then if it doesn't happen, then that comic book comes back down. But then you can kind of see where that comic book will be if that was to actually happen. That's why I keep looking at the first appearance of Mephisto book. Because that's
a perfect example. And I think he's going to show up. I think it's just a matter of when.
That book was so up there. Like the CGC 3s were over $1,000 for Silver Surfer #3. And I love that book. I love the cover. I like that.
Yeah, you like the book regardless.
I like that book regardless. But that book was up there to where I didn't want to buy it because it was a spec book. Everybody was like, Mephisto's coming, Mephisto's coming. That book in a CGC 3 was over $1,000. Now you can get like a CGC 7 for around that much. And that goes to show you now that same CGC 3 is like $350 to $400. So it's like they didn't introduce him as the next big bad like everybody thought. It ended up being Kang. And so, okay, now we have Kang. We don't have Mephisto. Now, if you were buying all the Kang books, you would have been sitting on a gold mine. But, that's kind of how it works.
That stuff went nuts.
But we see where that book, I think it's a good, outline of where that book can be if Mephisto is introduced. You know what I mean? We've seen the potential of this book. Now we've seen the drawback. Now it's like, okay, maybe I should get this because I know where it can be.
So like the Giant Size X-Men 1 I bought, I got that for 4.6. In May, those were going for 6K in the same grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a nice almost 2K discount on that, $1,500 discount on that, compared to what it was at its all-time high. Now, back in January, it was 2,400, but that's the world you live in. You miss the original floor, it goes up, you wait for the new floor, and if you want it, you dive back in again. I assume you're going to agree with me on this one. If Miami beats Buffalo this week, sell two as fast as humanly possible.
No, man, you got to hold them. You got to hold two
get out of here with your
Super Bowl run, baby.
Dolphins fanboy.
Fish, let's swim, baby.
This is an interesting one. Mac Jones Silver Optic Hollow preview. It looks clean. Would you just flip this raw as fast as possible, or wait the 4 weeks for PSA?
I'd flip it.
I think I would too.
Definitely with it being the preview. The hollow preview never gets the respect of the actual optic hollow.
Yeah, I think I would just move it and not risk him having a bad couple weeks.
This dates all the way back. And this dates all the way back to the 98 Bowman Chrome preview of Peyton Manning. Look at the 98 Bowman Chrome preview, Peyton Manning, in comparison to his regular Bowman Chrome, even though the Bowman Chrome preview card was issued first.
And even if it looks super clean, if you catch a 9, if you miss something and catch a 9, then you're really going to be kicking yourself.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you PSA it, because PSA is going to cost you a lot of money.
I mean, 150 for a 4-week turnaround time. That's not that bad.
Yeah, but for that type of card, like if that card comes back a 9, you're probably
you probably. I mean, he it sounds like he pulled it, so I don't know what he was into the base Don Russ for. It could have been that he bought a blaster box for $20.
Right.
If that's the case, you're still going to make money on a PSA 9. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to lose money.
Well, the grading fee automatically then put you at $170, without.
Yeah, but I got to imagine that's more than $170 card.
You think 7 and 9? I'm not really sure.
With the other stuff not out yet, yes.
Yeah, right now, but that stuff will change in a week.
Yeah, but we're not getting other football products still for a while, I don't think, right?
Yeah, but after a week, it's not new anymore.
For like another month at least.
Yeah, but I don't think it always means the next product has to come out as much as, okay, the day that a product drops in comparison to a week and a half after it drops.
Yeah, I think Don Russ has a little bit more juice than some of like the gold standards and absolutes and stuff like that. I'm just curious to see what one sells for now.
Oh yeah, Don Russ is one of the legitimate, budget type cards. Once you get out of your chromium based stuff, Don Russ is a card that is respected. But I mean, if you look at LaMelo Ball hoops, the LaMelo Ball hoops, and then a week later, LaMelo Ball hoops was like you could have bought 3 of them for the price that you bought one for on the day that it dropped.
I wonder if that's college jersey. I think I agree with you. I think in general, I would flip it raw. I don't know that I would risk it. I think that's getting too cute.
Yeah, I mean, unless you unless you believe in Mac Jones in the long term and really, think that he's going to put something together. But if
Yeah,
you're
I
looking
think
to make money off it quickly, I would probably just flip it raw.
I think I would flip that too. I agree. Getting caught up on chat here. If you have anything that you want to, any hot knowledge you want to drop, I would feel free.
See, sports heroes and collectors talking about Star Wars comics. Let's see.
Some of the higher end 90s comics, a lot of that stuff's still kind of leveling out. I know it seems like ASM 300 and a 9.8 has leveled out at about 6.8K to around 7K. New Mutants 98 seems to have settled in at like 1,800 to 2K. I think that's a pretty good buy right now. New Mutants 98.
Mm-hmm.
It spiked at 3K, 3.5K for a hot minute. It's pulled back to 2K now, and we haven't gotten we're a year away from a trailer still, probably on the next movie.
There's two that I see from Krista Williams. If you wanted to pull just one of those, one of them's talking about long term of National Treasures. The other one's talking about Leaf and Wild Card companies.
I think NC and Flawless, if you want high end stuff, are the two that have staying power with a little side bit to Immaculate. But that would be my hot take on those two.
I like Flawless better than I like National Treasures. Now, that's not the general consensus of the market. National Treasures draws more money. I honestly think Flawless is a better looking card. And Flawless has not really steered too far away from on-card autos. But National Treasures, especially last year and this season, is really getting lazy. Panini's getting lazy in general, but they're really getting lazy on high-end product like National Treasures with sticker autos. I mean, who wants to spend $3,000 on a box of cards and get a sticker auto? It's just ridiculous. Flawless is still a lot of on-card. I think your true value is going to be in on-card and game used. So whatever product is giving you that, I think is going to be the product to go with, / card to go with, / year to go with. National Treasures from 2015 and 16 is probably going to hold more value than the stuff that's out now, because the stuff that's out now is getting cheaper, and I don't mean price-wise when you buy it. I mean, it's getting cheaper in production and lazy in production in comparison to some of their early products.
Yeah, I don't disagree with I 100% agree with you on the more modern take. One of the things I hope, like let's say the Fanatics overlords acquire the licenses to NT and Flawless. I'm wondering, I think something that they could do, because they would have the power to get behind this. Imagine an NT or Flawless where your patch was game used and they told you what game it came from.
Mm-hmm.
So, you pull a Baker or RPA, whatever, a Bronny Jr., Flawless, whatever, whoever the pop player is 5 years from now. And it says like opening night of his first, you have some special card of his that's patches from his debut night or something, or like his second game ever RPA. Like I think that would have enormous extra juice to value if you knew like this jersey certified came from Bronny James Jr.'s second NBA game against the Kings this night. This was his stat line or whatever. I can 100% see Fanatics doing something like that.
The biggest thing, though, I mean, it would be awesome to get those types of jerseys, but realistically speaking, those types of jerseys are usually saved by the player. Bronny James's first pro game. I know you said second.
I amended it second.
First pro game.
You're right.
And then, or say like a Super Bowl championship. Say Tom Brady's 7th Super Bowl or 6th or whatever. If he wins 7, that is going to Canton. That's going to Canton. You know what I mean?
But could you get his AFC divisional game from like his 18th AFC division game? You know what I mean? Like how much juice does that still have for the Hall of Fame? And remember, Fanatics is partnered with the leagues and the players. So they're going to have way more pull than Panini coming in trying to get this stuff. And I agree with you. You're not getting a Super Bowl jersey of Brady, but could you get a division championship game jersey of Brady and cut it up? Probably, because he's been to 40 of them. You know what I mean? So, but even like a guy's second or third game ever, I think that has a lot of extra juice to it to add to a product.
Mm-hmm. But you also see players nowadays, they all trade jerseys at the end of the games. What if they're like, oh, Bron and traded this jersey to Jason Tatum, and then Jason Tatum put it on, and it just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
But,
I just really like the idea of a patch that has
I love the
some
idea.
juice, even if it's just a random game. Hey, this was from the Christmas Day game.
Mhm.
Perfect example. Christmas
Upper Deck.
Day jerseys. They have the special jerseys that they have for Christmas Day games in the NBA.
And some older Upper Deck products have that. Some older Upper Deck products have the actual event/game that is wearing. I don't like to say event now because now event applies to any type of signing or photo shoot or anything. But I had some older Upper Deck cards that actually I had an 8-patch card from Upper Deck, and it actually said the individual game that every single patch was from. And it was 8 players, and actually 7 of the players, it was all from the same game. It was from an all-star game. So it was kind of easy. They pulled patches off all their all-star jerseys. And then the other one, the player that I guess didn't make the all-star team, was pulled off a different jersey this night versus this team. It wasn't nothing significant, but they did put this team versus this team on this night.
Swag coming in here, Poseidon Swag, with a pretty hot take. Fanatics will be the downfall of sports cards. I'm actually beginning to think it's the opposite. I think they have the potential to take it. I am more on the side that they're going to take it next level than that they're going to ruin it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at one point, every company had zero experience in making sports cards. At one point, I guess 1952 or whatever it would have been, Topps never had experience making cards until they started making cards for, I guess, baseball in 52. I might be wrong on my dates, but you get you get my point.
Mm.
Panini was a sticker company. They never really made cards until they acquired the license in the late 2000 or mid 2011, 12. They made sticker books and sticker albums. They didn't really make cards. So, Fanatics has been in the sports memorabilia universe and things like that. They're a big enough company. They can hire people who have experience in these fields to do this stuff for them.
Yeah. I mean, we realistically think all those Topps people are just going to go start working at Starbucks. Like, they're probably going to pull a bunch of people from Topps and Panini. I'm sure they're already headhunting the people that they want. And who's to say getting fresh blood into these companies isn't a good idea?
Right.
Get some outside perspectives, get some outside takes on this stuff.
A lot of times it's like when a new grading company tries to launch. Now, some of the, established companies, like when CGC wanted to launch CSG, they went and they hired the guys who were running Beckett and working for Beckett and had experience with Beckett in Beckett grading services. So, they just didn't say, okay, we're starting a grading company. These guys are going to head up our grading department. It was kind of like they went out and they got guys that were experienced to do it.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier. Fanatics has the players and the owners on board. They have equity in it now. Like, you cannot tell me players aren't going to be flaunting their own cards on IG and stuff or whatever the social media platform is in 5 years that everyone's on. That they're not going to be showing off their own RPAs or their own sports card collections. I 100% see that being a thing. You're going to see commercials for whatever the main product, let's call it Prism, Fanatics Prism 2027 will be advertised on commercials during NBA Christmas Day games. Like, I firmly believe that. And you've never seen that before.
The only thing I don't like are some of the possibilities where we're talking about, okay, they might cut out the middleman with wax, which means they'll make their wax, they'll sell it on their own platform. They're going to cut out graders. They're going to make their own cards, have them graded themselves. I don't think the hobby, hopefully, won't allow that to happen, because that just leaves too much room for shadiness to take place. Printing your own cards hot off the press to the grading company, or, selling your own wax. It's like, who's to guarantee you're going to put in those boxes what you say is going to go in there? And, as far as the top players.
So you probably missed this because you were at work. So Josh Luber, the CEO of the company that's going to be running all this, said today at the industry summit that he plans on that hobby shops are extremely vital I don't remember the exact quote, but basically said that they are in the plans. Was the gist. He did not give any details. It was quite vague, but the quote was definitely along the lines of, "We know that we need hobby shops." Essentially,
Okay.
the gist of it. Now, I agree with you. I would not feel comfortable if I was a distributor. When it comes to middlemen, I think they are the ones that are going to get cut out.
Use a hobby shop.
The example I gave earlier is, Topps sells a $100 box to the distributor. The distributor sells it to Card Collector 2 for $500. Card Collector 2 sells it to us for $800. Fanatics is going to cut that guy out and just sell it to Card Collector 2 for $500.
Right.
That's what I see happening. If I was a distributor, if I was Southern Hobby or GTS, whatever the distributors are, I would be sweating bullets because those are the guys that are going to get cut out. But I think Josh is smart enough to know that he needs a Card Collector 2, a Santiago, a Mealy Pop, like, you know what I mean? I think they're smart enough to know that they need that infrastructure.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the Fanatics talk and a lot of the thoughts and things like that, a lot of people have questions about it and a lot of people wonder. To me, it's so far down the road. I have questions, but we're 4 years away from baseball and even further that from other products to the point to where who knows what would be going on with anything in 4 years.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happens sooner. I think there's a world where if they buy Topps or Panini and then they maybe buy out the licenses from the other one to start producing stuff sooner. I don't think it's going to be like next year.
Yeah.
But I could see 2 years where we have Fanatics basketball cards.
But if they just buy the companies like Panini and Topps, do they then just, does just things go on as normal? They just produce the same products under the same names. They're just the parent company. And also, how bad off will Panini be, or even Topps? Will they still try to do what they can do? Topps has F1 and Bundesliga soccer and other smaller things, Star Wars. They have Garbage Pail Kids, whatever it may be. Do they have enough to sustain? And then you have Panini, who has been around long before they acquired NFL and NBA licenses. I mean, this company's been around since '66, I believe, was their first soccer stickers. So they've been able to make a living just off the soccer sticker market because soccer's so big, or a business off of it. So yeah, they are losing NBA and NFL licenses. However, these are licenses that weren't acquired until around 2012, like I said earlier. So they've only had these licenses, for a company to only have these licenses for 9 years, as opposed to they've been around since 1966 at least. So they were around long before acquiring these licenses. So does that mean, can they still sustain long after they don't have these licenses?
I mean, to your point, I watched Sports Card Investor video today. Him and Tyler did one, or Teapot did one not live, but recorded on the floor of the Industry Summit today. And Panini spoke, and their entire 45-minute presentation was UFC. They did not mention a single other sport or product. They had UFC fighters there. They gave a bunch of stats on UFC cards. It was entirely UFC. They did not make a comment on anything else. So that kind of tells you how they're positioning themselves anyway. And maybe they end up getting bought out. They probably don't know, but they're running their business like they have to,
right,
assuming it's going forward. So I think you can apply that same logic to Topps. They're probably going to put a lot of effort behind F1 with as hot as F1 is right now. And to your point, like some of the other non-sports card stuff, until movement happens, if they get bought, not get bought, whatever.
And with soccer, it's different because they've been producing, again, soccer stickers at least since 1966. And soccer has multiple licenses. So they've been producing in international kits since then. They haven't had the rights to all the individual leagues. They just had acquired the rights to EPL last season when they put the Prism product out, or 2019, 2020. But they had always had the rights to the international teams. That's why in 2014 was the first year they put the Prism World Cup cards out, because they had rights to international, but they weren't able to put these teams out in their professional kits because they didn't have rights to all the individual European leagues. So that's another thing. Yeah. Say Fanatics wants to buy uh, Ligue 1, which is the league in France. They want to buy the Premier League, which Panini has right now. Say, for instance, they want to buy the Premier League or La Liga, which Panini also has. They're making a mosaic product in that. They could buy out all the individual professional soccer leagues, but Panini will still be able to produce all these people in their international kits, the countries that they play for, their World Cup, their Euro, all the individual stuff like that. Because that's what they did long before acquiring the license to the individual leagues, because they only acquired those licenses, around 2016 or
Yeah.
later, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things change. Like you said, it is all speculation, but I do think it's going to be wild times the next.
And I think it's funny
years.
that Panini locked up Christian Pulisic to an exclusive deal because he's the biggest soccer star from America.
Side of things, yeah.
So they wanted to lock up the U.S. market because they know that even though soccer is super huge in Europe, that the U.S. dollar drives the market.
I do hope Fanatics can solve the bot problem. I mean, as much shit as I gave Top Shot, they probably had the best system I've seen in regards to pack queuing and all that stuff. I don't see why someone couldn't steal that if they wanted to put the time and effort into that. But hopefully they're smart enough to crack down on that with whatever system they put in place. Because it would be nice to buy, like, I'm not a big wax guy, but I would love to buy like a couple blasters or a mega box of the new product at retail and rip it just for the hell of it. But I'm not paying aftermarket prices for that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Joshua, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, they're smarter, but like, Top Shot had a pretty good system. Like I said, as much hell as I gave them, their system, once they put up the queue system and whatever, and like you got in and then you had to sit in the queue and you knew like where you were at in the line and all that, and they cracked down. I'm sure some bots got through, but it was much better than what anyone else is doing. So I think it could be figured out if people put the time into it. Do you have any hot takes on Wildcard and Leaf? They are not for me. I am pretty anti non-pro jersey stuff. And this is right up that alley.
Yeah, well, both companies were set up at the National this year. This was kind of like Wildcard's comeback. They issued, to anybody who bought a VIP pass, you got a free pack of Wildcard cards from their booth. They didn't seem very special to me. Same with Leaf. They gave out a set as well. It kind of felt the same way. Leaf put out all the crazy autograph packs where they had crazy numbered out of 5 or numbered out of 1 autos, but there was just so many of them. And they were just basically photoshopping photos and putting sticker autos on there. That's how they were making different cards. They were like, okay, well, we'll put this guy, and this guy together on this card, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy together on this card, because we just have endless sticker autos that we can place on whatever cards we want to put them on. And they really don't hold a lot of aftermarket value at the moment. With Wild Card, it was like, it didn't seem like, and I might be wrong, but it didn't seem like they were trying to market what made them popular. What made them popular in 91, 92 was the fact that you could get a card out of a pack that could essentially be cashed in for 1,000 more cards. Now, I know with print runs and stuff, that's crazy, but if you pulled a 91 Brett Favre wild card rookie with the 1,000 stripe on it, technically that meant, okay, this can be cashed in for 1,000 regular Brett Favres. Now, it's probably more valuable to just keep that card with the 1,000 stripe on it, because that's going to be more rare than getting 1,000 base cards. But back in the day, it seemed, if each Brett Favre card is worth $5 and I can cash this in and get 1,000 of them, that's valuable. But in the long run, I think having that 1,000 stripe on it actually made that card more rare. But it didn't seem like they were playing off of that, as their selling point, which that's what it used to be. That's why it was called Wild Card. It was like, okay, it was like a gamble, Wild Card. Are you going to get a wild card in your pack that you can cash in for, their company name was Wild Card, but it was also a play on the actual cards that you were getting out of the packs. And it just didn't seem like it had that excitement to it.
And Triggerfinger's point, I would imagine those companies would be screwed once the new licensing agreements kick in. because you're not allowed to make. They have the players' unions locked up. So
Yeah.
unless it was truly a college player with an NIL license, you'd be kind of screwed.
Yeah, and I know, yeah, it was like the Leaf CEO or whatever came on one time. I think he was on Sports Card Live with Jeremy talking about the loopholes that they use to be able to put out certain cards um, without having a league license. And I don't even think it had anything to do with having a players association license. It was something else where they were using photos of people doing their job. And that was their, they didn't have to hide the logos because basically, okay, we're just taking a photo of somebody doing their job. Was kind of like a loophole that they were using at one time.
Yeah, I'm going to imagine Fanatics isn't going to let that fly. They probably have a bigger legal team than Panini and Topps.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to wrap up here pretty quick. I'm at 3 hours and 10 minutes. I know Steve hasn't been on that long, but I think this is actually probably one of my longest live streams ever, I would say. We actually went right over. We started before Dustin and Brad, went right through Dustin and Brad. And I think I checked in once. We had more viewers than they did at one point in time. I don't know if that held. So we outdid Dustin and that was Brad live from the industry summit too. So he had all the hot takes. So you got Raleigh show coming up this Saturday plus a Saints Panthers game. That's the big hot weekend.
Yeah, so I land pretty early. I think 9 or 10 a.m. I land in Raleigh. Dustin's supposed to be at the airport to pick me up. So it'll all stem from there, whether or not he shows or not. So, and then the Friday is just a day of whatever. I guess maybe he'll show me around the area or whatever. And then Saturday is the show. I'm trying to get a table. I've been trying to no end. And I got the guy that I was supposed to contact about it. So I knew the show was sold out, because I tried to get a table online. It said online, we're sold out, but you can go on a wait list. I contacted Kenneth Fornos. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him from YouTube.
I know his channel. I've never met him personally, but
because he's from that area, and I met him at the National, and then he's from that area, and he'll be set up there. He actually said it's a pretty good show, and I was like, dude, do you got space at your table or anything like that? And he was like, no, he's full because he's got a partner. But he tried to give me a connection to a guy who might be able to get me in. Well, that was actually the dudes who's running the show. That was on the website. But the guy never responded to any of my calls or texts or Instagram messages, not even Dustin. So I'm like, okay, so he's either ignoring us or he doesn't care, or there's no way he can get us a table and he doesn't want to tell us. I don't know what it is. But then I just got a message tonight as I got home from the show locator, who's another gentleman that helped run shows. Yeah, I met him in Dallas, and he was like, here's the number to contact the guy. I talked to him. He said there's a wait list, but even though there's a wait list, he might be able to do something for you guys if you show up. So I don't know what to expect come Saturday. Maybe we'll get like a little.
You might get lucky. Someone no shows or something, and they got the empty table, and they're like, "Here you go, last minute."
Yeah, maybe an empty table, or maybe they'll give me like a little coffee table to sit over in the corner. Maybe I'll steal a hotel lobby table like we did at trade night, set up. But anyway, I really want the dealer's perspective. I want to see getting on the other side of the table will actually let me know how far I can go with this, and it's not a thing where I would ever stop doing it. But what is my full potential as far as if I ever wanted to become a dealer? And I don't mean dealing wax and all that, but I mean setting up at shows and selling cards, and then buying cards and selling cards, buying collections, piecing them out and selling them, things like that.
So,
yeah.
I talk to a couple of my local dealers on a regular, and they always say the best part about setting up is what walks up to you, not
exactly.
what you sell.
Exactly. And the thing is that people walk up to you expecting to get 65% comp around that. So as a dealer, if somebody walks up to me with $100 card and I say, hey, I'll give you $60 for it, it doesn't come off as a low ball offer because that's what's expected. But if I was to go up to someone, say at that trade night, just collector to collector or flipper to flipper or whatever, and they have $100 card and me be like, hey, I'll give you $60 for it. Now it comes off as a lowball offer because we're dealing as equals. You know what I mean? When you're
Mhm.
dealing to a dealer, it's not necessarily an equal playing field because you have to account for the dealer's expenses and things like that. So
Yeah,
people
there's an
go into those,
understanding of I'm going to leave you a little bit of room so you
right.
can make $10 on this or whatever.
Even when I sell my cards to a dealer, I go up to them and I don't like to mess around a whole lot. I kind of give them my price and I'm like, hey, this is my price. This is 25% below comps. This is what I want. Take it or leave it. You know, it might be a card that I'm gonna be like, hey, this I'll give it to you for 70% comp. But I'm not going to just go up there and be like, this is worth 100. I'll give it to you for 90. And then them say, I'll give you 60. And then you say, no, no, no. How about 75? You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm be like, here's my price. Take it or leave it. I don't have time to stand here all day and negotiate over $15. But but I expect that. You know, I expect that I'm going to have to take less for my cards off a dealer. So I want to be on the dealer side of the table where I can have people walk up to me with deals and me still be able to pay them and them feel comfortable with their sale and me feel comfortable with buying a card that I think still leaves some meat on the bone for me to sell. But I don't know if I'll ever get put into that position or not.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it too. I would like to do it once just for the hell of it, and I could pretty much do it whenever I want to.
Right.
I know the guy that runs the local shows here, and he's always said if you want a table, just let me know. You know, I'll figure something out to squeeze you in. If we just have to set a table up somewhere or whatever. But I've just never wanted to like dedicate the entire day to it.
Yeah.
Or even like a half a day and peace out in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
My local shows are pretty good. I'm lucky. I have two that are within 15, 20 minutes of me twice a month. And then I have a Cleveland show that's about an hour away from me once a month. And some other ones that are a little further away. They're not huge shows, but they're good local shows. And I know most of the people there now, so I can get a good vibe.
Yeah, I just want to experience it.
Whatnot.
And I might like it. I might not like it. It might not be for me. The dealer side of the table may not be my gig, but I just want to experience to say that I did it. And, you know, and I'm sure some shows would be different than others. It might be great sometimes and not so great other times, but I just want to experience it to say that I did it. And, you know, that might be the extent of it.
Yeah, trade nights are different to MPerk's comment here. Trade nights are like a completely different beast. To Steve's point earlier, it's kind of a different setting. Like you're not working off of, you know, like you said, if you threw 60 to 65% at someone at a trade night, they'd probably slap you in the face.
Yeah.
But if you did it on a show floor, it's a different conversation. I know I've sold at not Ryan's national trade night, but I've sold cards at his trade night at his shop before, plenty of times to people, and usually the running is about 80 to 85% eBay for comps. Usually most people want to buy at 80%. Some people are willing to sell at that price, some aren't, but when you figure you're losing 14% to eBay anyway, the extra 6% just to have straight cash in your pocket, I'll do that almost 9 times out of 10, unless it's a card I really just don't want to get rid of.
Yeah, I approached a card / table card, whatever you want to say, at that one of those trade nights, and it was a Jason Tatum card. Comps were right around 800. Would I have loved to been able to be like, hey, I'll give you 500 for that without feeling like I was insulting the guy? You know what I mean? I would have. But to me, if I say I'll give you $500 for your $800 card because we're both on the same playing field, that's almost an insult. Now, if I come in at 650, 700, that's strong. You know what I mean? But, you know, but if I'm on the other side of the table and that card walks up to me and it's an $800 comp and I say, hey, the best I can do is 500, it doesn't feel like an insult coming from that side of the table.
Plus, you're going to throw 500 at them with the anticipation that they're probably going to come back at 6, and then you're going to say 550, 575 and end up somewhere in the middle, and you're still going to feel great about it. Same with if you're at a trade night, you go, okay, I'll give you 650, and they come back at 725, and you're probably happy to buy it anywhere between 675 and 725. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like that.
Yeah, but I'll sell at 80%. If it's a card I'm looking to move, 80%, I'll sell all day long. I sold a bunch of low-end slabs at the last show I was at to a guy that I've sold to before. He almost always pays very close to 80% eBay comps. I sold to him at a Card Collector 2 trade night before. He cashed me out on a bunch of just like Acuna, Topps Chrome, PSA 10 base, like that sort of stuff, like $100 to $200 slabs. And I sold him like $2,000 worth of stuff. At my local show, one of the dealers that I know, he was in chat earlier actually. I had a stack of raw stuff. Probably what I would consider like star stock Bs, like decent stuff, tray based prism, jaw based prism, a bunch of random stuff mixed in. I dumped them all to him at like 60%, 65%, because it was raw and I just wanted to move them. It was a stack like this. And I was like, I would just rather, I comped it all out. It was like $1,000 of raw cards. And I was like, I would just rather have the $650 in cash than try to deal with piecing this stuff all out.
Yeah.
He gave me that, and I went and bought 2 tray silver PSA 9s with it. So to me, I traded a big stack of raw nonsense for 2 tray silver PSA 9s.
Yeah,
like, I'll do that all day, every day.
And even with the raw stuff, you can't, you got to sell it on eBay. You got to hope you don't get a return on it. You got to piece it all out one by one. You got to ship it all one by one. And you can't even put something like that on my slabs, because it's raw. So it's like,
and with him being a dealer,
platforms to move it on.
That's perfect for him. Like that stuff's going to be, you put tray-based prisms out at a show, priced accordingly, that stuff's going to move. You know what I mean? There's going to be people, as much as we all like to say and chat and comments like to say that the base market's dead, there's a lot of people that's all they can afford. That's always going to be a market for that stuff. So if you price it correctly, a job-based prism is going to move if you price it right. Like, so.
Yeah, when you're selling them in bulk like a dealer too, like if you're making $5 to $10 profit per raw rookie card of somebody base, if you're selling one card, that's not a big of a deal. But if you have the platform / the means to move that stuff easily, because everybody has the platform online, but conveniently and easily, like at a show or in a shop, now those cards have a lot of value to you because you're making $5 or $10 here and there. But when you're doing lots of sales on a daily basis like that, that stuff adds up.
Yeah. And from my perspective, it's like one transaction done. Yeah. Sure, I could have pieced it all out and put the work in. It wasn't worth the time to me.
Yeah, it works out for both sides. It works out for both sides. You're able to dump a lot of bulk stuff that you're probably been just tired of sitting around.
That's exactly what it was.
And he's able to pick up some stuff that's going to, probably pay his overhead.
Oh, easily. I'm sure he did well on that lot. I'm sure he's still selling through a lot of it because it was a lot of cards. But I'm sure just off of it was probably 100 cards, 25 of them probably being like pretty liquid stuff. Those 25 alone, he probably made enough profit to pay for the rest of the stack.
Yeah.
Most likely. Because some of it was $5 or $10 cards. Some of it was $50 to $60 cards raw. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll do deals like that all day long. I tend to be pretty easy to work with on stuff like that. If it's
and I didn't realize that to the last Philly show I went to, because I walked in with just my case and slabs. And there was lots of tables I walked up to. It was like, you have anything raw? They were like, you have any raw cards? You have any raw cards? And I was like, no, they're brought with slabs. But people were looking for bulk raw cards. I don't know if they were looking to get them graded. I know one table was looking over a lot of the raw cards people were bringing up because I think their intentions were to get them graded. But then I saw other people that just wanted them so that they could take them from $5 to $8 and put them back into like an $8 box. People who have these bargain bins and boxes that people like to come up to their table and go through, they got to get their inventory somehow.
Yeah, for sure. And I could see raw stuff could pick up again. That PSA price tier at 150 opened things up a little bit, and the writing's on the wall that regular is coming back sooner rather than later at probably $75 to $100. That's going to open up another tier of cards that can go that direction.
Yeah, there'll be some viable base stuff if PSA becomes reasonable.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like as many people are sending cards to SGC and HGA and all this, there's a ton of people that are like PSA only, or they're holding out for PSA to open the doors again. And you get regular service at $75 a card. There's going to be a lot of cards that look pretty entertaining going that way at $75 a card. I know $75 card's a lot, but when you're getting the PSA 10 premium on the back end, it's not that bad.
I'm reading a comment. Krista Williams says Neo is a real card guy, and then he says, and she likes Dustin the personal finance dad too.
Damn, no love for flipping.
Whoa,
Steve.
What?
Jeez.
Oh my god, I'm crushed
Yikes.
over here. Good lord, man.
I need to figure out the thing. I turned it off, and I don't remember how to turn it back on again. So it shows our names underneath the boxes,
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice it wasn't there.
but I don't remember where that is.
Look, Crazy Kev is giving all you guys all the love too, man. You should have had Brad and Dustin on tonight.
Nah. I don't know where it's. I don't know how to change that. I'll have to dig around for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
No banned guests. Whoops. Accidentally banned Steve. All right, boys and girls, we're going to wrap up there. Smash the like button on your way out the door. Go sub to Steve's channel over at Flipping Steve. He does fun little live drives where you get to watch him buy energy drinks a few times a week. And then he should post more content, but he doesn't.
Complaining at the post office.
And then you have your Monday night live streams and all that. So
I'm doing a video. Actually, I was supposed to film a video when I got home from work, but I hopped on here with you. I might go film it now. And it's actually so it's going to be on the modern basketball stuff that I've been buying since July. If I was to sell it now, where would I be? Would I be
nice.
Would I be up, down, or even? So it's kind of going to give a general synopsis, at least on the players that I've been buying, not the market as a whole, but at least on the players that have my players been moving up or down. Was I in early enough to make money now? Would it be smart to sell now? It's going to kind of be, and I honestly don't know where I'm at. So this is a situation where I got to sit down and do the math and the video. And
that's a good idea.
Yeah, you're going to find out where I'm at.
You do that one, then I'll do it in 2 weeks. I'll steal that idea and do that same video in 2 weeks for all my Trey and Luca optic hollows and silvers that I bought. Spoilers, I'm up on all of them. All the basketball I bought at the National, I'm way up on. At least for now.
Yeah, I think I'm up on a little bit, and I don't think I'm down on anything. So if I am anything, I'm up some, down. But I don't think I'm up. I don't think I'm up a lot, to be quite honest.
See, that's the beauty of which I don't know. Market movers, shameless plug. The My Collection tool I could go to right now and go to date purchased and sort backwards. Let me do a screen share here. We'll go all next level.
But how often do you got to update that, man? I have too many cards coming in every day that I have to update that too much.
So look at this. Hold on, let me zoom in here.
Oh, let's see that hot collection.
Oh, there it goes. So yeah, look at this. I just sort by most recently purchased, 8, 10, 21. There's my total that I paid. There's how much I'm up on it right there. My 3 Trae Young Silver 9s, I'm up 13% on. My Luka Revolution, I'm up 28% on. Look at this Optic Hollow, 970 up to 1,300. Look at that. Just bought that on a month ago. There's my Soto Pinks that I'm dead even on. Actually, I slightly up. One must have sold.
Hey, man, you've been making some good buys. You must have been watching my channel.
Look at this. Luka Mosaic 2018, bought at the National for $860. $12.50. This Tatum I got
that at the National. I missed that. I know that you got it at the National, but I didn't. I wasn't.
I bought these two together from the same table.
Yeah,
the Tatum and the Mosaic in a package deal, or the Luka.
Was that on the Sunday, the last day, or did you?
No, that was my second day there. I saw them on Thursday afternoon when I was there, and it was the first table I went to Friday morning to buy them.
But you didn't bring them to the Saturday night trade night.
I probably left them in the room because I had no intention of moving them.
Yeah, because I didn't see them out on the table. Okay.
Yeah. Here's the red Trey Ice that I got. I put a $1 cost basis into because I traded a Luka BGS 9.5 True Gem for it that I was into for $25 because I bought it in 2019.
Yeah, I remember the trade. I was sitting next to you.
Yeah, you were sitting next to me. I got that card and cash for a Luka base Prism that I was into for like $30.
Yeah. I remember
and that card one recently just sold for $500. That was a $300 card not long ago. Here's my 2 Luka Optic Hollows that I'm into for $1675 that are currently valued at $2,400. Look at that. I've been crushing it. Look at this.
What's that up to now? The Optic Hollow 9 has seen
$1,250.
Like a $400 to $500 increase, or is that two?
Yeah.
Two is that two?
Two, but it is a 4. I got them for $837 as my average paid for 2 of them, and they are currently at $1,215 each. So
Okay.
it's a nice $755 profit. My chalk toss, I am dead. Look at this Baker profit down here on this optic hollow.
Man, you better sell that now.
Look at this.
Move it. You got to
Slightly up
move
on
it.
this
Move it.
Tatis. Here, we'll show some. All right, if I'm gonna flex, let's look at this Donovan Mitchell bloodbath real quick before we end this live stream.
Oh, no.
Bought for
Where you at?
$450 on April 9th, down 53%. Mitchell optic base down 50%. Jaw optic hollow. Here's a real killer. Ben Simmons PSA 10 optic, $250. Current value $57.
I don't know. What do they have the Mitchell optic base going for?
110.
At 110, it's that low.
Just sold September 14th.
Hmm.
Prism PSA 10, 212.
I know the hollows are slightly up.
Yeah,
Well,
his base stuff is not. His base stuff's dirt cheap.
I mean, they're up from when I bought them. I don't know if
like, look at this. I mean, like, I'm not trying to. Here, oh, hold on. Let me get the pump out. I gotta
Pump
get the
handle
pump out
slam.
from underneath the desk. Mitchell base Prism at $200 on a 2017. That's pretty low pop count. Feels pretty cheap to me. Just saying. Yeah, these are the cards. This card actually almost got back to even. I took a bath on this too. Lucas Select Premier. I bought that for $1,200. It went like straight to $800 like 2 weeks after I bought it.
It's climbing back up
there
there now, right?
and it's back up again.
It's climbing back up to where you're only down 100 or so.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of card, again, that's when you're saying, okay, I'm buying a little safe. It might come down a little bit, but
A little MPJ action, a little red, white, and blue. I'm a little underwater on there for $17. But yeah, see, if you have something like this, you could crank that video out real quick. Real quick. Market Movers Pro, ladies and gentlemen. Link in the description. 20% off coupon code. Well, you have your own. Use Steve's. There you go. You have Market Movers affiliate link.
yeah, I have a Market Movers affiliate link. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but I have one.
It's handy for stuff like this, though. Like when you want to do
Yeah.
stuff like that, to just be able to just look. The other nice thing too, I'll self plug too. I use, since all my cards are in my collection. When I'm in a show or a trade night, I don't have to look up comps. I just pull up my collection in the app, and I have all my comps, which is a lot easier than dealing with 130 point.
I'm loaded on Donovan Mitchell right now, man.
I know you got a bunch of
He does
hollows.
good, man. I'm loaded on Mitchell.
The one that killed me, because I just gave you all my money right before, was the De'Aaron Fox optic hollow that you stole at the National.
Oh my goodness, that card doubled in value before we even left the National. I feel like
Yeah,
either
you
that or he
stole
just sold
that
it to me
card.
too cheap.
Oh, as soon as I saw that price, I'm like, that's a good deal. And you're like, I'm grabbing this. And I
He
was
said,
like,
what did he
I
say?
watched you
220?
spend my money in front of me.
He said 220 or 225. I was like, how about 175? He was like, how about 190? I was like, let's do that.
He could have said 205, and you would have said, let's do
Oh
it.
yeah, I said, let's do it. That was when I was
All right.
going full basketball. You know, I was going full basketball.
I don't blame you.
There it
I
is.
don't blame you. There, yeah, there it is right there. I love Fox's. If Fox gets traded, if they start slow and trade rumors float about him getting moved, woo boy.
He's just one of those
If he would
guys
go to Philly,
that's
if he would go
super
to
hot.
Philly for Ben Simmons, oh
Yeah.
boy,
Oh goodness gracious. Yeah,
that guy would be a monster overnight.
and I took a couple stabs at some players that are completely long shots, but they were just dirt cheap. You saw the Cam Johnsons. I just don't mind his
I like Cam
situation in
Johnson.
Phoenix.
He's
You know, I
one of
don't
my
mind his
favorite,
situation. I picked these up for under $200 for the pair. And this is a courtside, and the orange ice I like because it's a color match.
I got one guy I'm looking at, but I'm not
These
naming
are
him
like
on stream because I want to
cheap.
sneak in and grab some of his stuff before it goes too crazy.
Oh, and I'm kind of like not really maxed out. I guess we'll see what happens on Saturday if I find some more good deals on Modern Basketball. But I'm kind of, I mean, I still have money to spend, but I'm at the point to where I'm like, okay, do I have enough yet?
Yeah,
I got your boy Sexland, not Sexland, but Sexton. I got a killer deal on that too. That silver concourse. I'm not huge on Sexton, but that was another one of those cards that was like, I can't turn that price down. What you got us up on? Instagram?
Yeah, I was just checking DMs real quick. Sam was messaging me. See if she was gonna hop on last.
Somebody said Snoop. I just got a Snoop sticker in the mail for the PC. I bought another PC item today. One of those old Marvel stickers in a PSA 9. Doctor Doom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just anytime I find those at a pretty good price, I buy them for the PC. And this one came across my slabs, just like the Iron Fist came across my slabs for $100. I offered them 80 and they took it. This one they had listed at 75 and I offered them 50 and they countered me 60. So I was like, yeah, $60 for a 1976 PSA 9 Doctor Doom sticker. Give me that. And that's shipping included. Still going.
To answer a couple questions, people were asking me about CC2 trade night on Friday. So I don't think my lean is no, and the reason why is I have a show Saturday morning local, and a local shop is doing a trade night. One of one is doing a trade night Saturday night, so I think I'm going to lean that way. Instead of Card Collector 2's trade night. So I don't know that I'll be at Ryan's on Friday. I'm not 100% ruling it out, but I am most likely probably not going to be at Ryan's. I would like to be, but I really want to go to 101s just because they're local, and I want to throw them some support. It's their first time doing it, so I want to make an effort to go to that one. And I've already been to 2 Ryan's, and I'll plan on going to the next one. So,
yeah, I wish I had a
my
card
plan
shop
for this
out.
weekend. What's that?
I wish I had an LCS. Mine's like 2 hours away.
Yeah, you said that. I'm surprised you don't have something closer.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours away, and it doesn't even have a whole lot, especially when it comes
How
to singles.
far is Santiago from you? I know that's a little bit of a hike, but like
he's a bit away because so Jersey's not very far from me, but he's a little bit northeast Jersey, so he's probably 3 hours in Jersey. So I'm looking at 45 minutes to an hour to get to the Delaware Jersey border. But then once I enter Jersey, he's still like 3 hours north.
Oh, I'm surprised has he tried to put together like a trade night or anything like that?
I asked him about Philly, and he said he wasn't sure yet.
Even at a shop. Like even at a shop like Ryan.
He does have trade nights at his shop, and he just had his 1 year annual celebration and things like that. He does do stuff like that, but because of my work schedule, my days off never fall on the days that anybody's doing anything because I don't have off weekends,
You always have to work weekends.
Yeah. And all these card shows and stuff I'm going to, I have to use vacation time from work. So that's why I worked today. Wednesday and Thursday are normally my days off, but I'm working today and tomorrow because I'm going to North Carolina. So I just switched shifts with one of the other managers to where they're going to work my Sunday and Monday, and I don't have to use up 20 vacation hours because I work 10-hour shifts. So if I take a day off, it's 10 hours. So I'm able to save 20 vacation hours by switching days off. And I did the same thing kind of for the Philly show because October 12th, I'm going to New Mexico for 8 or 9 nights for like an actual vacation. Dallas and Chicago and North Carolina, they're not really vacations because it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a business trip either because it is fun. I do have a good time, but it's not like a relaxing.
But it is. Yeah, you're not just chilling on the beach all day. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
National is tiring. You walk out of there and you were dead ass tired at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's fun, but you were wiped.
Yeah, and I was going to go to the Florida Keys, and I was just like, man, I don't know if I want to go to the Florida Keys and deal with a lot of tourism. So we just decided to go to New Mexico, out into some wilderness, some hot springs, and just be quiet and relax.
Yeah, we're planning on New England in a couple weeks.
Oh, New England's nice. We love New England because we get to go there.
Maine. We rented a cottage on the water in Maine.
We almost did that because my wife's from Revere Beach in Massachusetts, which is it's actually a piece of Boston. If you take the T in Boston, which is their their subway. It's the last stop on the.
I was
subway
hoping
station.
it would line up with the Causeway show, but the Causeway show is not the weekend that we're going. So I really wanted to go to
Yeah.
the Causeway show. I really
I'm
want to go to
trying.
that show.
I'm trying to.
Next one's
plan.
October 16th, so you'll be in New Mexico.
Yeah, but I'm trying to plan an extended weekend around the Causeway show because we'll be able to go up to Boston, visit her family, hang out, go see Fenway, just go to some restaurants and stuff that we like, and I'll be able to spend a day or so at the show.
Whatever the next Causeway show is, I want to try to be there. I really want to go to that show. I've heard great things, and I love Boston. On top of it,
it's Boston's
like
cool
whammy.
too. It's got a nice feel to it. I like this.
So the next one will probably be in the middle of the winter, which would probably be a nightmare. Traveling to New England in the middle of the winter, depending on how often they're planning on running that one out. And I don't. Maybe they wouldn't do them in the winter because of. I don't know if they could get TD during the Celtics season. That probably makes it a lot trickier for scheduling that.
Yeah, I haven't been there since 2018, July.
Last time we were there was our honeymoon. We went to Boston for our honeymoon.
Oh, okay. I had gone to Rome, Italy. Well, I went to Rome for the Pearl Jam concert in 2018, and then I also toured the country. I was in Italy for like 3 weeks. But
Nice.
When we came back, there was a Foo Fighters concert at Fenway, so we went to Boston for like 4 nights to go to the Foo Fighters concert, and it was like shortly after we got back from Italy. That's why I remember it.
Nice. All right, we're officially ending the stream. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out Steve's channel. Check out my channel. Catch you guys and girls tomorrow for a football video. I think Friday I might get a little spicy, talk about some grading stuff. I don't know yet.
Oh,
I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I keep putting it off because stuff keeps happening. So, but yeah, catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.
Later.